Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, they're reporting that author Tom Clancy has died. They don't know the cause of death right now. Thought I'd throw that out right up front before I end up never even talking about it. And I guess he was kind of the symbol of Americana, pro-U.S. military, really propaganda. But he wrote some good books. He is now dead, and that's fitting that that should happen when there's a government shutdown. And when all over the world, different pundits are saying this is the beginning of the end of the American empire. Well, there was never an American empire. It was a financial, globalist, corporate empire that has used this country to basically set up its own planetary regime. And by the way, David Knight was on the nightly news with me last night, breaking some really big news that's hiding in plain view, that the Asian Union, the Pacific Union as it's known, the North American Union and the EU, all part of the trilateral program, are all basically merging right now. And so we're going to have David Knight with us at the start of the next hour for about 20 minutes to break that down today and go back into what he covered last night. It's so important. I want you to hear this live and fresh here on the air with some of the new developments. They're meeting on the 19th meeting of the Pacific Union to merge it. And this is all happening, and it's corporations above government that are making all of the major decisions. So this is a big, big deal. And it is coming up at the start of the next hour. Tosh Plumlee, the big whistleblower, who's a famous Iran-Contra whistleblower, and before that a whistleblower for the church committee hearings, on the just incredible info he brought out last week. I want to see if he's had any repercussions or if any threats since he came on. And I know Fox News has also been contacting us, wanting to talk to him, so I'm going to ask him on air today if he wants me to give him that number and things, because I know they were contacting him a few weeks ago and he didn't want to talk to him. But we'll see what's happening on that front before he gets called again to testify to Congress. He's still, because that's how the bureaucracy works as a private pilot, flying weapons for the CIA. And there he is saying he talked to a high-level NATO officer and others that indeed they were just sending weapons from the United States and Europe into Benghazi, that it wasn't a arms deal gone bad, that it was basically, the word is getting rid of witnesses. The ambassador, it's a big deal. And it's kind of like the second, the number 2 man over the U.S. nuclear forces was suspended and then almost arrested, but now they've dropped the charges for trying to pass reportedly fake casino chips, counterfeit chips. That sounds like a setup to me. I mean, I can't believe they've got people over the nuclear forces that are degenerate gamblers. It just sounds like a setup. And you tie that into the missing nukes out of Dyess Air Force Base. That's a real story, just like the bin Laden raid being fake is real. Our report on that, Cy Hirsch now going public saying it's 100% false. And even The Nation magazine, a total establishment publication, had an article out about Cy Hirsch going public, and we're just freaking out, saying they want more out of him. But Cy Hirsch told us that he wouldn't come on the air because, quote, he doesn't want to destroy himself. He said, I'm not big into self-immolation. That's when, like, the Buddhist monks light themselves on fire. And the world stares aghast at it. He's saying it's too dangerous to tell everybody what he knows. I think it's dangerous to not tell them. But we already know what happened. We already know there was a lookalike of bin Laden. We even know the guy's name. It's a total setup. And the SEALs figured that out, so they had to be killed. And they didn't dump the body at sea, and there wasn't a Situation Room meeting. That was all fake. It's just amazing. We're going to get into Obamacare and the showdown with World War II vets and a lot more straight ahead. My friends,
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Last night, Michelle Obama, the lady that parents all of our children and tells them what to eat. My children were going to private school 2 years ago, and they were given Michelle Obama handouts telling them what to eat and what to do and to fill it out and turn it back in so it could be sent to the federal government because the school was accredited. And I said, no, our children will now go back being homeschooled because of that. All that federal money that the schools want and that federal accreditation. Well, Michelle Obama came out last night in a tweet. 70+% of her followers are reportedly fake on her Twitter, but it doesn't matter. And said, I will not be tweeting anymore because of the government shutdown. And you've got to love how they've still got Air Force One. They've still got the private chefs. They've still got all the lavish everything. They've still got the Homeland Security programs. And they've still got the giant NSA command centers. And they've still got the aircraft taking off to fly ammunition and weapons to Al-Qaeda. They're still running over 70% of the government. And all they're going to do now is shut down the few services the federal government has, and that's being henpecked and yelled at by park rangers. I even did a video report on this. A few years ago, my mother, for her birthday, with a pop-up trailer they have, wanted my wife and I and the children to go down to the Texas National Seashore down in South Padre. And I've been there probably 20 times in my life or more, camping. Probably more than that. And I'd been there since it became all federalized. I mean, it's always been federalized. But now, literally 5 times a day, park rangers would come over to us and get in our face and order us around and bug their eyes out till I finally blew up at them. And they would stop and harass each group of people down the beach. I mean, it was not super crowded, but there were cars every 50 yards or so, and would boss us around. And then they had a checkpoint when you left to see if you were drinking, randomly pulling cars over. And I'm never going back there. And that's what they want. I'm sure you heard last year and this year they said that all over the country it's bad for the earth to let you go swimming. So depending on the national seashore, you're not allowed to go in past your knees. And then they give you a ticket if you do. Or in some areas, you're not allowed to swim, period, for the earth's safety and to let the ocean rest. Okay? That's in the Carolinas, you name it. And these park rangers, this morning I was driving into work. Richard Reeves was out at my house this morning helping me out with something. So he drove in with me, and we even shot some video of it. I'll try to put it up on a report on the Nightly News. And all of a sudden, I'm driving the speed limit, and the state trooper shoots up right behind me, almost running into me, and then just sits there on my tail. And I think they must have license plate reading systems. They're about to pull me over. No, then he pulled out from behind me and then drove up and got behind a minivan in the slow lane, right behind it. He was just messing with people. And then he went and kept doing it to other cars. And I shot some video of it as he was a few hundred yards away doing it to people. I'm going to have to blow it up to show folks what he was up to. And I think I have his plate number as well. But when he drove around me, he was bugging his eyes out at me. His wife probably was mad at him this morning. And imagine, this is what tyranny is. You take people who are nobodies. You take people who would be no one in their life. You take people that no one wants to hang out with. You take people that would be unsuccessful in business, and you give them a badge and a gun, and then they can go out and basically road rage around. I mean, here comes this guy at like 80 miles an hour. I look up and I see a state police car, one of the new Dodge Chargers, it's a good-looking car, run right up behind me. And then I'm sitting there, and I guess he wanted to get off on me panicking or something. And then I'm sitting there looking, and I can't even see his car by the time it's so close on my bumper. And I tell Richard, hold the wheel. I'm going to start videotaping this. But anyways, then he shoots around and starts doing it to other cars. And I drove all the way down 290 for 20 minutes watching him run up behind cars this morning. And I know you got a government shutdown, all this happening. It's just that when I think about the World War II vets, who there's now video of the police saying, we're going to arrest you if you try to walk onto the memorial. And they've got the government money to have police there and security guards there and to have them put barricades up. And that's why Michelle Obama put out the tweet and said, I'm not going to tweet anymore because of the government shutdown. Please don't propagandize us anymore. Now they're putting up expensive fences all over the place around the other memorials and saying that no one is going to be allowed to get into the Washington, the Jefferson, the Lincoln, and now World War II veterans plan to storm Lincoln Memorial today, closed due to Obama administration pettiness. And, of course, I always love old memorials, state memorials and stuff where no one's there. I mean, it's great to go, shoot video there, hang out with your kids, have a picnic. I go to some of the state memorials sometimes. There's no need to have anyone there anyways. But when you go to these D.C. memorials and you even try to take photos, they'll come over and yell at you because it's about letting you know you're a slave. I've talked a lot about this on air, the D.C. memorials, and if you try to go there and dance, they'll arrest you. Of course, famously, Adam Kokesh did that stunt to illustrate their tyranny. You can't hand out constitutions in California at the university or they arrest you or give you tickets. I mean, these are authoritarians. 2 kids in the last day made fingers guns, bang, bang, and got kicked out of school. It's a thought crime. You can go home and play the violent video games, though, because that's special interest. want you doing that. It's totally legal, lawful to have an article about how you fight zombies at the school. You get arrested for that now. If you write that in fiction class, we've seen many cases of that. There is no law, there is no nothing, but there are the corrupt courts, the corrupt system, especially juvenile courts, where there is no jury, and they'll just trick the family into putting you on probation, waiving your rights, and signing you up for probation directly. This is the tyranny. And by the way, they know they're tyrants. They know they're tyrants. And whereas 10 years ago, the state police in Texas, on average, were very professional and nice, now when I have run-ins with them, especially the new ones, they are like drill sergeants, and you are the lowest form of garbage, like you're a Marine Corps cadet on their first day at boot camp. Because the message is, you let the public know we're in control. And watching Army PSYOP training videos from the 60s that we played here on air, and I'm going to have clips in Obama Deception too, they say that. It's important to dominate and have confrontations with the public up front to intimidate them and let them know you're in control. And that's what this is. I mean, I'm seeing Pentagon, occupied country, PSYOPs, and of course the cops don't even know why they're taught this, most of them. You've had police chiefs admit, we wear black masks, we wear black uniforms, we do this to intimidate you. It's about a reign of terror, where some guy goes and takes a 2-year course, and now he gets to run up behind vehicles and have road rage. And if somebody else did that, it's reckless driving. And I just have to put up with some lunatic state police guy. It's like when I saw some checkpoint by my parents' house a few years ago, and of course my iPhone was out of batteries. I hadn't charged it. I'd gotten up in the morning. I'd been staying over at their house. But the point is, I was in the neighborhood one night and stayed over there. And there was a checkpoint, so I pull over in the neighborhood. I stop. I walk over, and I politely go, hey, what's going on? And the head guy goes, get in your car. And there was not anybody they were arresting. There was no lights on, no nothing. And I went, well, I was just asking. I'm just a citizen. And he said, I told you, with his hand on his gun, get in your car now. And I went, wow, so I'm a slave. And he goes, I told you. And I said, so I'm really in the lowest form of dirt. And he was like, one more time, you're going to jail. And I said, you win. America's a police state. And the other guys were looking at him like he was crazy, but it didn't matter. He was in charge. He was in charge. He was in charge. I was a slave. He was in charge. And the guy that ran up on me and ran up on the minivan and ran up on the trucks and ran up on the rodeo and ran up on all the vehicles this morning, watched him do it to like 10 vehicles. And I kept saying, does he want to get around him? No. Then once they'd get out of his way, he'd just slow down and just be driving. Just some out-of-control lunatic. And we're in danger. That's what tyranny is a bunch of weirdos psychologically selected because they're unstable and mentally ill and have low IQs who want to dominate everybody. So the showdown's on today. You notice it's the top story on drudgereport.com. World War II vets threatened with arrest. We're going to play that video when we come back. It's also up on Infowars.com with Charlie Rose, the Bilderberg Group member, saying how wonderful it is. And then the National Park Service says Obama administration ordered the closure. That's right. They have put it out on their official tweet. That's right. Barricades, Barack Obamacades, confirmed. Park Service says Obama admin ordered closure of World War II Memorial. And they've now officially come out and said and told the reporters that, indeed, it is an order. Well, yeah, and they're going to teach you, oh, sorry, your reservations at the Grand Canyon? Doesn't matter, it's a private company runs it. Doesn't matter, you've already paid. Doesn't matter, it's all paid for. They're going to set up barricades at Yosemite and everywhere else. It's happening now. And they're going to all be on duty. They're all still being paid. They did this, I don't know, 16 years ago when they wanted to have the Park Service go under globalist control and accept all these new systems and shut down areas of the public. They said, oh, we're going to increase rates and we're going to lay some people off to get everybody to get in line with it. This is how they hold us hostage. It's what they do. And the chefs and the armed guards and all of it, it's all still running. And they've got the police and the Park Service out, shutting it down, saying you can't use it. They're all at work today, folks. And they're going to continue to be at work. By the way, they've computerized the IRS now. That's why they've got 70+% of their people furloughed right now. Most of them are never getting their jobs back. I know folks that work for the IRS, biggest IRS center in the country is here in Austin. They're being told, we just don't need you anymore. We have computers. So they talk about that being a furlough. That was already going on. Anyways, we're going to come back and play these clips. Rand Paul is calling them thugs that are there threatening to arrest the World War II veterans. And they are. They are thugs.
3 letters can strike fear. EMP. And only one bunker on Earth is EMP, RF, EMI, and infrared proof. True Protect Ready Bunkers. True Protect Ready Bunkers can be lived in year-round, buried or unburied, easily fit 8 to 12 people, and also serve as great storm shelters. They're the best protection known to man, regardless of the threat, and drones and satellites can't detect them. Learn more at TrueProtect.com. That's TRUProtect.com, or call 877-219-5616.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
It's time for a home security quiz. What effective home security device is smaller than a coffee cup, fakes out burglars into thinking someone is home at your house while you're away, plugs into any wall outlet, is recommended by many police departments, and sells for less than $30? Yes, it's Fake TV. This year, about 1 in every 50 U.S. homes will have a break-in, with burglars usually picking the easy target, a dark house that looks like no one is home. Fake TV is a small electronic security device that makes it look like someone is home watching TV by simulating the light from a real TV. Fake TV could be the difference between coming home to a secure house or one that's been ransacked. To get your Fake TV for only $29.95 with free shipping, go to faketv.com or call 1-877-5-FAKE-TV. That's 877-532-5388 or go to faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
To thank you for being a loyal listener, we have a limited time freebie offer for you. Claim your free heirloom tomato seeds, just pay shipping, right now at 123freeseeds.com. These aren't ordinary seeds. These are heirloom, non-genetically modified super seeds that are open pollinated and can be grown, harvested, and replanted endlessly. These survival seeds are actually more valuable than gold in a crisis. Go to 123freeseeds.com and you can get an airtight storage packet of 150 super seeds free while supplies last to say thank you for being a loyal listener. First come, first served. Just cover shipping. Go to 123freeseeds.com now to see if your free heirloom seeds are still available. That's 123freeseeds.com.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
Well, I think the offers from here on out will be that we are willing to fund parts of the government, and we're going to keep offering every day new parts of the government. And if Harry Reid and the president wants to keep the parks closed, I mean, did you read the story today? Some idiot in government sent goons out there to set up barricades so they couldn't see the monument. People had to spend hours setting up barricades where there are never barricades to prevent people from seeing the World War II monument because they're trying to play a charade. They're going to play a game with us to say, oh, you can't see the monuments? That's ridiculous. They're doing it because they just aren't serious about this. They like the shutdown.
All right. Rand Paul, good to see you, Senator. Thank you for being.
And then if you go up to Infowars.com, we have the video of Charlie Rose, World War II veterans threatened with arrest over memorial visit yesterday to the World War II Memorial. They had police and guards out there and extra people on hire to tell you can't use it. This is the government holding everything hostage. This is the government holding the nation hostage. And it's the new class system where if you're in government, you're God. If you're not in government, you're absolute crud. It's gang thugism, and it jeopardizes everybody. And this attitude of tyranny is being pushed because the globalists have seized this country. And now they're set in the next hour or so. We're going to be following it at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and here on the radio on the nightly news tonight very closely, because this is how Lexington or Concord could start again. Back in 1775, on April 19th, in Lexington and Concord, on the East Coast, they're in, Massachusetts. Look at that, how that's been totally overrun by tyranny when it's the birthplace of liberty. They came to take the guns, and the Patriots didn't fire first. And they said, hold your fire, don't fire first. But if they come for a fight, by God, they're going to get one. And they came and they fired on the veterans of the French and Indian War. And a bunch of them were old men, and the killing of the old men and the killing of the veterans is what really made everybody angry. And I'm telling you, this is how it's all going to start. They're going to kill some kid on video. They're going to beat up some World War II vet or some Korea vet or some Vietnam vet, and then it's all over. And the globalists have a problem because they've used veterans to push their propaganda of empire and tyranny, but now that the veterans are waking up and against their New World Order, the globalists want to say the veterans are the #1 threat, because they are the #1 threat. They could provide the leadership, the historical context for people to rally around against the occupiers. I mean, we are captured on record. The globalists brag in the Financial Times of London, the Club of Rome, the CFR. I've made films about it. I've showed you the articles that they've captured the planet and that we're captured. The Army War College teaches the top brass this. They're hiding this in plain view. And they need to now be able to convert things where they say George Washington, the Founding Fathers are bad, and the vets are bad today, and the gun owners are bad, and people that want to keep some of their own property and not be total slaves to the government, they're bad. And if you don't want the government saying your kids belong to them, you're bad. And if you think people ought to be able to have a Second Amendment, you're bad. And if you love the Bible, you're bad. You're a bitter clinger. You got a bunch of arrogant, so-called intelligentsia that are really authoritarians up there with armed guards protecting their kids at private schools who say we can't have guns to protect ourselves. They are a criminal class, and they know they are. We're going to go out to break with Charlie Rose talking about threats to arrest the veterans.
Some of the most visible signs of the government shutdown are the national parks and monuments, from Arizona's Grand Canyon to Philadelphia's Liberty Bell to New York City's Statue of Liberty. Guards are turning away visitors. Barricades blocked Washington's World War II Memorial yesterday until a group of frustrated veterans showed up. Chip Reed is at the memorial with their story. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning, Charlie and Nora. A group called Honor Flight Network brings World War II veterans here to Washington at no charge to see their memorial. For many or most, it's their first and possibly their last time to see it, so it's a very important day. Well, yesterday, a group of them showed up here and they were told it was closed, but they weren't about to let a government shutdown stand in their way.
Thank you for your service and welcome to your memorial.
A caravan of World War II veterans arrived in the nation's capital Tuesday to visit the memorial built in their honor.
I've been looking forward to seeing this ever since it went up.
The men and women in their 80s and 90s traveled more than 1,000 miles from Mississippi and Iowa to see the site in person. But this was as close as they could get.
It means a great deal to me because I have anticipated coming up here for years. And I finally made it, and you see,
we'll be back.
What I can see, nothing.
We'll be back with a conclusion. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
With over 3,000 years of historic use, pure silver continues to be one of nature's most reliable and effective agents against fighting viruses, mold, fungus, bacteria, pathogens, and parasites. At Silver Lungs, we have developed a reliable and easy-to-use full production system for creating endless pure nano-silver solutions right from the convenience and comfort of your home. Your self-produced nano-silver solutions can be applied topically to the skin. For many who are new to silver that wish to try silver for the first time, we offer a full line of consumables and cosmetics, such as our 2-ounce nano-silver nasal sprays, our nano-silver soap, and our most popular product, the all-natural nano-silver gel. Visit www.silverlungs.com to learn more about the industry-leading technology of the Silver Lungs system. That's www.silverlungs.com.
Ben Swan here. We are winning. Alternative media is challenging and beating mainstream media, and it's imperative for the liberty movement to continue this momentum. However, independent media cannot win without the support of sponsors and advertisers like Diamond Gusset Jeans. For over 26 years, Diamond Gusset has been owned by patriots with products designed for patriots. When I put on a pair of Diamond Gusset jeans, I enjoy the quality, comfort, durability, and style. Most importantly, my wife really likes them as well. From the cotton to the last stitch, Diamond Gusset bucks the industry standard by producing a 100% all-American product. Another reason for my endorsement. So Ben Swan is asking you to go visit DiamondLiberty.com right now. With promo code BEN, you will receive a 20% off discount on a pair of male or female Diamond Gusset jeans. Remember, DiamondLiberty.com, and you are directly supporting the growth of independent media.
You got a business. That you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Folks, if you go to Infowars.com, we were playing the Charlie Rose clip. It's actually the second clip on the article, headlined World War II Veterans Threatened with Arrest Over Memorial Visit. And it's the second video where you can see the Park Service threatening to arrest anyone that goes on the memorial. I got recruited back in about 1998. I was on a Chicago affiliate, and the fellow that owned it was an Italian-American. I'm trying to remember his name. And he was recruiting people to raise money for the World War II Memorial. And I remember on air plugging it every week for months for my listeners to donate to the World War II Memorial. So I remember that I believe it's 100% volunteer paid for. Tom Hanks was promoting it, and it was super expensive. And I know for a fact that radio station alone with the talk show host raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. And so they build this thing, taxpayers build it, and then a bunch of goons in uniforms come and squat on top of it and threaten to arrest people. So it's the second video in the article. We're playing the Charlie Rose video, and we're going to add some more videos to that article as well. In fact, here is one of the videos where they're threatening to arrest people.
Honor Flight is considering going even if the government is still on shutdown, but when the organization called the Park Service, they were told they would face arrest.
I said, are you kidding me? You're going to arrest a 90 or 91-year-old World War II veteran from seeing his memorial? If it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be there. She said, that's correct, sir.
99% of those veterans on honor flights have never had the opportunity to see the memorial.
Now, see, if the feds, who are really globalist occupiers, can hike their leg on World War II veterans, which are, held up as the paragon of honor and duty and being heroes and the greatest generation, and I agree they were great people and are great people, then they can do it to anybody. And that's really what this is all about. And they don't care if you're awake to Obamacare being a fraud. They don't care now if some polls show 80% against it. They don't care if you're learning that it's taxes on poor people and makes most folks go from 40 hours to 29 hours or less. They don't care if you learn now. It's over, suckers. They got Homeland Security in place, and they don't think you can ever dislodge them. Homeland Security now admits they're set up for us, for gun owners, libertarians, conservatives, returning veterans, anybody that doesn't like the Federal Reserve. This is in all their manuals. Anybody who knows they're a foreign occupational army, who knows the globalists have captured this country. And again, we're going to have David Knight in at 8 after next hour to go over some of the breaking news and information dealing with all of this, because there's big globalist meetings going on right now. And back in the day in 2007, we would cover the BAMP Canada meetings. We would cover SPP meetings. We would have Jerome Corsi on and Ron Paul on, and we would all battle it together, and it'd be big news. And we'd have Lou Dobbs on, and he was battling it. Now, world government's so well known and so admitted, it's not even sexy now to talk about it. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going under corporate world government. Yeah, Goldman Sachs brags they've conquered Europe and the U.S. Yeah, they brag they signed us on their derivatives. Yeah, they put out their tweets about how we're all dumb idiots and they're going to rob us. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, did you see that earthquake hit? Yeah, that was my wallet dropping. I mean, it's funny to them. Yeah, I sell horrible stocks and bonds to my customers while betting against them myself. Yeah, my customers are scum. It's like the head of Twitter, or no, it's the head of Facebook. Came out famously and said, my users that trust me are dumb effers. And it's all public. It's all funny how dumb we are. It's all funny how they're running over us. It's all funny what scum we are. It's all funny how they can get away with anything they want. By the way, will somebody, just in case he's not listening, go tell David Knight he's on at 8 after. And the second segment, I forgot to go tell him earlier that I want him on today. I forgot this morning. I forgot earlier. He probably knows. They're probably listening. But I want him to cover what he covered last night on the Nightly News. We did a 2-hour live transmission last night that I hosted with the reporters. Great analysis, you name it. And we even had some guests that arrived, some Obamacare supporters, a little bit of satire at the end of the transmission. That's pretty ridiculous. And there is drudgereport.com. breaking down some of the things that Obamacare is rolling out. A Paul Joseph Watson article from Infowars.com. It's on the right-hand side. Obamacare fines to be seized from bank accounts. Oh, yeah, that's why they always had the IRS running it. That's actually in the bill. And then Obama said, well, don't worry, the IRS won't do that. Kind of like, I'm against the NDAA secretly arresting Americans, and I'm going to fight it in the Senate. And then Senator Dodd got the blame, and he came out and goes, here's the letter from Obama and his lawyers. They wrote it. They've pressured us to pass this, and I feel betrayed. We've played the clip here. He goes, I feel betrayed that you didn't want to be known to be behind this. I did it, and then you threw me under the bus. He actually says this. When you are the ones, and Mr. President, I respect you. You're my friend. You know, we're fellow mafia members. He didn't say that, but that's what he was saying. Why have you done this to me? Why you treat me so bad? Well, because that's what he does to his string of girls, his whores. I mean, the New World Order is all about breaking us, all about trampling and being trampled, all about betraying everyone. That's sexy. That's cool. That's how gangster things operate in Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia. I've studied tyranny. I've studied criminology. Tyranny are gangsters, folks. What, you think gangsters are like the rap stars of today, the wannabe gangsters? You know, now that term means black urban hip-hop person. No, gangsters are people in gangs, and they take over your government, and they loot and take everything, and they never stop until everything collapses. And that's how they like it. And then they sit up in big armored castles as everyone's starving to death, just partying down as your villages burn. That's what they do. That's what they're into. And you see Obama when he walks off stage, I'll be high-fiving Biden and laughing. I mean, they break down on record and laugh at everyone. And vice presidents and presidents, you better believe, folks. LBJ back in his day made billions of dollars that were put in different accounts that's come out. And that was in 1960s money. A guy that came from out in Johnson City today, out by Fredericksburg, Texas, in a dirt-floored cabin. And he ended up with billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars when he died. Of course, none of it meant anything at the end, did it? I talked to somebody that talked to a family member of LBJ who talked to him about a week before he had his heart attack out at his ranch, and he died in the air. They tried to fly him to San Antonio. They had an airfield out there. His former president. And LBJ came in and visited, and he had long hair. Then he was totally depressed, smoking a ton of pot. And he said none of it meant anything. He was smoking pot because his doctors told him smoke pot. It'll make you not have a bunch of heart attacks, which it had been helping him. You know, settling him down because he was the kind of guy that always jingled coins in his pocket and was always real out of control. And he said, I wish I'd have gone a different path. I wish I could have never have done all this. I mean, it kind of makes you actually feel good for him and admire him in a way that at the end, he hated it all and felt bad and was so upset about all the dead in Vietnam. At least he had a soul and felt horrible for what he'd done. That is a good thing. Just like the thief next to Christ on the cross at the end says, you know, I repent. I wish I wouldn't have done all these bad things. Christ looked at him and said, today you will be with me in paradise. Because he still had goodness in his heart. But I think about all these people. I mean, Obama and the Bushes and the globalists of today are light years ahead of bad guys of old. I mean, they are really, really, really nasty. Hitler was into darkness, into the occult, into really evil things, a lot of sick stuff, but he also thought he was saving the world and thought there was some great altruism at the end of it. I've studied Hitler as well. Stalin was an outright former bank robber thug who just liked to kill people and run everything. And that's the kind of people we have now. They just like to be nasty and hurt people and make sure everybody's poor. They like seeing poor people. They like seeing starving kids. They like seeing society fall apart. They like it. It makes them feel good to do that to you. They're threatened by you having a beautiful wife. They're threatened by you having your own business. They're threatened by you being straight and strong. They've hated you their whole life because you're smart and successful. They don't love humanity. They hate humanity. I'm in a love affair with humanity. I love art, literature. I love people. I love ideas. I get frustrated because I can't implement all my plans, which I know if I had enough smarts or enough capital or enough whatever, we could really change the world. But, you know, we've already changed the world to a certain extent, and we're just doing the best job we can. And I know I'm ranting. I want to give out the number. We're going to continue to track this with the latest updates because Drudge is on it at drudgereport.com. I've got my great crew at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. The Watson brothers and Adon Salazar and Kurt Nimmo and Kit Daniels and, of course, Julie Wilson and the great reporters over there on the TV side. We're all watching and waiting and tracking when the group of World War II veterans are set to arrive any time. I know there's all sorts of street cams you can find. Try to look for DC street cams on Ustream or whatever. I'll bet money there's people already Ustreaming down there at the mall down there in D.C. or up there in D.C., there at the Lincoln Memorial where this confrontation is set to happen, because they've now put up big fences and they've got the cops out there, and I'll guarantee you, they're going to arrest them. And I'm telling you, folks, this is the arrogance, and this is what ends up defeating people, the image of old people being beat up. Because if some of these vets try to get up out of their wheelchairs or whatever to go see their memorial, I will guarantee you that the police, because this is a special thing to be able to hurt them, will attack them. And the reason is because it is so bold. You would think of it as a PR disaster for them, but if they can do this, they can do anything. They may be smart and back off, because they threatened to arrest them before if they went to the World War II memorial that I paid for and you paid for. I personally gave, I remember this, $1,000 to that memorial. I want to say that guy, that World War II vet, he used to come on the show. He was a funny guy. He was our Chicago affiliate. And he was so interesting. I had him on as a guest a few times about it. Gentel. I wonder if he's even still alive. Most of these vets are gone. And he owned a Chicago affiliate, a different one than we have today. We're on it a few years. Had a huge listening audience. It was a mom and pop. And he was like the head for Illinois. It's now coming back to me. He was the head. So look up the head of the Illinois World War II Memorial Fund. He was the head of the Illinois deal. And boy, he was on that. And I can't believe how much money they raised. I forget. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page, how much money they raised to build that giant memorial. I've been to it. It's amazing. And I had people walk up and tell me not to shoot video, security guards. I mean, it's the same deal. They're henpecking you to let you know that you are their slave and you better get in line and do what they say. And so it makes it even crazier that no security's needed there. If there's a problem, you call the police. But you go to D.C., it's crawling with toilet attendant security guards who then will tell you, you can't videotape here. You go, well, there's no law. They'll call the cops. Cops come and go, listen, you got to get a permit. We go, there are no permits. We check. And they go, it doesn't matter. I've been told to tell you to leave. And I'll say, you're really violating my First Amendment. A few times the cops go, all right, get out of here in 5 minutes, and I won't give you a ticket or arrest you. Happened at the Supreme Court to him across the street, and the federal guys, we have this on video, come over and say, you can't videotape. And I go, there's no law. I'm on a sidewalk. I'm not on the federal property. He goes, listen, buddy, I'm going to arrest you in about 30 seconds. And I was charming. I went, come on. I'm just getting this for a documentary. You know they don't give permits. He goes, yeah, they don't. And I said, can I just do it real quick? He goes, you got 2 minutes. He goes, you can even set up your tripod. Well, that's the big thing. And I go, thank you so much. And I sat there and pumped his ego as a psychological warfare test. And he was more of the baby Huey Dudley Do-Right type. And I've done these psychological warfare tests with them, testing different things to see how they respond. And you're sitting here looking at a total program person. You feel sorry for them. A predator that works for the New World Order would sit there and program them. But they're literally programmable. And I'm not knocking cops or security guards here. It's like that across the board. I mean, you can talk to the public, you can talk to women, whatever now. And if you know the things to say, it's just immediate. It's like they're machines or something. And I just am very sad about this. I want to take your calls on this because this is really capturing people's imagination. If the veterans force their way in, then other people will force their way in, and then the whole hoax is broken. And they don't want that to happen. That's why they may go the extra mile and go ahead and arrest the veterans, even though they know it'll be a disaster. They can't stop because the image, just like in V for Vendetta, where the thousands and hundreds of thousands show up in the mask and the military decides to not fire on them. And it's at that point Ceausescu falls, to use the Romanian example. What you see in V for Vendetta that's fiction is actually based, the Wachowski sister and brother have talked about, of different things that happened in 1776, things that happened with Guy Fawkes, things that happened with other events, and the Romanian Revolution, where the same thing happened. The people marched on the Capitol and on Ceausescu, the dictator. The military was told to kill him, and the military stood down. And then all of a sudden the military said, you know what? Let's just go take the palace. Let's just turn this around. Now, in America, we already have a Bill of Rights Constitution. We don't need to do that. I don't want the military, by the way, and some general to be our new president while they have elections. And I know Stuart Rhodes is really against a military coup, and I don't want it as well. But there is a place someday, if this continues, to just not have the military stand down and then they bring in UN troops, and it's an openly a foreign government. I mean, you will have to have the military at that point go in and arrest the so-called president and his cabinet, so that the civil authority and arrest the attorney general and others, and then have an emergency vote in the House, probably the best way to do it, on appointing an interim president. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do here. I mean, more and more I realize that they're not going anywhere. They're gearing up for a protracted war with us, and I can't believe we're on air actually having to talk about stuff like this. I mean, look, if I cared about my own butt, my own rear end, I would take my family and flee to Switzerland or Northern Europe right now. I mean, you have to understand that this is not sensationalism, folks. This is happening.
I'm sick of how the big drug companies are keeping men from fixing their ED without pills. Matt Cook here from GetEDSolutions.com, and I've helped thousands of men fully recover from ED without pills, pumps, or supplements. But the big drug companies collect $5 billion in revenue from sales of ED medications. They don't want my message to get out.
Things are so much better now. Everything kind of came back overnight. My girlfriend, very happy.
I purchased your product yesterday, and it was fantastic.
I have used your system for about 3 weeks, and I'm already seeing great results.
If you're one of the 52% of men who suffer ED, you must go to my website at GetEDSolutions.com and watch an instant web class that shows you how to get rid of your ED forever from the privacy of your own home. That's GetEDSolutions.com for an eye-opening web class you can watch instantly. You'll never be the same, and your wife or girlfriend will thank you because you were smart enough not to just believe the big drug companies, but to find out the truth about ED at GetEDSolutions.com. That's GetEDSolutions.com. GetEDSolutions.com.
You are now in the crosshairs. The NSA and the FBI are treating you like a criminal and monitoring your every move. Ron Paul said recently, the evidence of the totalitarian nature of this government is on display undeniably every day. What's taking place right now is a coup and the destruction of the Constitution. Fortunately, there is something you can do about it. Learn how to be invisible, lock down your privacy, and even disappear forever. Go to privacylockdown.com to learn how. That's privacylockdown.com.
Are you prepared for disasters, job loss, and uncertain times? Make Emergency Essentials your first stop for premier food storage and emergency preparedness supplies. Compare our food storage ounce to ounce, and it's easy to see. Emergency Essentials has the best quality and lowest priced emergency food storage guaranteed. Call Emergency Essentials at 800-999-1863 today or visit beprepared.com. The choice is clear. Be unprepared or beprepared.com.
Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. with the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade.
Major publications worldwide, including here in the United States, are reporting that Obama is presiding over the end of superpower status for our republic. That is what is being reported, and this is being done by design. They are maneuvering us towards collapse of the American empire into the globalist empire, and David Knight will join us coming up in the next segment to break that down. Then we've got Tosh Plumlee popping back in for 20 minutes or so with any updates, big-time whistleblower on Benghazi. And then we're going to go to your phone calls. I've run out of time to go to them in this hour, so I'll give the number out coming up in the next hour. Let me show you a few breaking news articles. The Washington Examiner is reporting shutdown overreach, more guards at World War II Memorial than Benghazi. Park Service closes park, it doesn't run. And that's the bombshell here, because I was thinking, even before this article came out, wait a minute, I don't think that's run by the government. It's government property, but it's a private trust that runs it. And wasn't it private security when I was there? It told us not to film. And boom, that's right, folks. They don't even run it. and we tried to find webcams. This is in fact, this is newsworthy. They've cut off the webcams. This is an article we ought to do right here. All over the country, look at this. National Park Service, because of the federal government shutdown, all national parks are closed and National Park Service web pages are not operating. Folks, you had to turn the websites off. They had to do a bunch of work to do that. Taxpayer paid for material and work, cultural work, essays, articles, photos, research, kids' games, you name it. All turned off. Oh, but I was looking on their site. Guess what's not turned off? The shopping carts. You can still buy all the parks games and coffee cups. These people make me want to throw up. They are running a giant stunt and putting up barricades everywhere, even parks they don't run, saying you can't come in. That reminds me of the Federal Reserve. We're like a quarter-mile away from the Federal Reserve, and was it Kansas City? And armed private federal security in black uniforms come over with guns and tell Aaron Dykes and Rob Jacobson, it's on video, give us your IDs and leave or we're going to arrest you. And they're like, we're here just videotaping the World War I Memorial. They said, leave now. And the guy started putting his hand on his gun. That became a major news story. First, the Federal Reserve denied they did it. They said that wasn't their people. Of course, later they had to admit that. Because, I mean, what do you do to an enemy? You lie to an enemy. And now the Barack Obama barricades, as they're called, Park Service says Obama ordered it. Oh, yeah, this is, and imagine once they run our health care, they're saying if you don't behave properly or you're not part of their system and not properly follow, like if you're a graduate student, you get better care. That's an example. If you're part of the combine, then you get all the fringe benefits of living under a collective and the death panels and all the rest of it. And now this article by Paul Joseph Watson up on Infowars.com. This is, I think, should be our top story here. In fact, I should have been covering this all day. This is so important. Obamacare fines to be seized from bank accounts. That's red linked up on Infowars.com. And I haven't even covered that yet. I should have been covering that. Of course the IRS is over it and administers it. Of course they hired, what was it, something like 5,000 in one thing and then 7,000 more. They're laying off 70+% of the IRS, but hiring all these new people to run, seizing $5 grand a year out of your bank account. And by the way, it was $3 grand last year. Now it's going to be $5 grand. They're saying $7 grand, and they're just going to take the money out of your account. They're going to garnish your paycheck because it's free health care because they love you.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network. world is discovering the power of medicinal silver to fight against life-threatening pathogens. And as a result, dozens of silver solutions have emerged. You can even make your own colloidal silver at home in your garage. How do you know which solution is the safest and most effective? Supernatural Silver is a new patented technology that is made using 10,000 volts of AC current. This technology is so powerful, it must be made in a laboratory. Colloidal and ionic silvers use a charge of only 110 volts of DC current, making Supernatural Silver hundreds of times more effective against viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural Silver liquid can be used internally, and our silver gel can be used topically. To find out more information on how Supernatural Silver can help you win the war against deadly pathogens, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SAFE for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
By the way, we are tracking the big government shutdown as they strut around shutting even parks that aren't controlled by the Park Service down. We're going to be getting into that. World War II vets are set to crash memorials, Lincoln memorials, you name it, supposedly going to be happening in the near future. The Park Service has turned off the webcams in the area, but citizen journalists will undoubtedly be there. We're going to be tracking it as soon as it unfolds. We've got some of our own reporters that are set any time now to be visiting an NSA center here in the United States and seeing if it's shut down. Of course, we know the NSA is not shut down, obviously. 70+% of government isn't shut down. Only the stuff that is so-called services, that's where the government gets to boss us around and treat us bad at all their facilities. That stuff shut down, which they've always dreamed of doing anyways, and just throwing us right in forced labor camps. There's nothing that boosts ego like actually ruling over slaves and picking out the women you want to rape or the men you want to rape or the children they want to rape. That's what every government does when it gets big and out of control. Bad people who hunger for the power get in power and start the rape rooming for everybody. I'm sorry, that's just how it works. Meanwhile, Swiss Army, war games, economic collapse, and refugee invasion, 21st century threats. That's up on Infowars.com. by the SHTFplan.com. And the London Telegraph first reported on it. They're preparing for the collapse of Europe, including France, Germany, you name it, and people pouring in. They're the only country that hasn't let foreign globalists take over. You show folks a document cam shot of this. Pretty important article. If you're watching us on TV, Swiss Army, war games, economic collapse, and refugee invasion. And that's what the British government's preparing for, is a total collapse, because they see that as the main threat. What did Stuart Rhodes say yesterday? We talked about the civilization preservation teams. And I wanted to plug a sponsor when he was on, but I never got around to doing it. And that, of course, is the wonderful folks at My Patriot Supply. And I just want to tell everybody that they need to visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. To experience their top-rated customer service, top-quality products, and incredibly reasonable prices. I've actually been using them as well as others for a while, and they're just such patriots and such good guys and listeners, and expose the whole FEMA thing, as you know, and FEMA wanted to buy all the food they could produce, and they said no. Again, we are seeing attacks on our freedoms like never before, but we can secure our independence by breaking free from the confines of the system of control. To the path to liberty starts with attaining a level of self-reliance. And My Patriot Supply is the home of a wide array of survival products, including the Patriot Pantry line of emergency food storage products. It's just incredibly high-quality food. Patriot Pantry is delicious, nutritious, and prepares in minutes. Patriot Pantry offers amazing variety, great taste, and is packaged to last for 25 years. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today to experience their top-rated service, top-quality products, incredibly reasonable prices, and the specials, and it supports the broadcast, one of our great sponsors. The products you need, the service you expect, and the price you can afford, visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. Just wonderful website, wonderful people, and that is our new Storable Foods sponsor, and we only go with the best, and they are the best out there, and they're our sponsor, so please check them out today. And lastly, before we go to break and come back with breaking news with David Knight on the big global government meetings that are happening right now, InfidelBodyArmor.com stops hundreds of rounds from AK-47 up to .308 and more. Ceramic only stops 6 rounds. What about the 7th? This stops hundreds. They've got armored backpacks, you name it. An amazing online catalog. So many great products. Rated level 3 armor. That's InfidelBodyArmor.com, one word, InfidelBodyArmor.com. There's also a phone number there on the site if you'd like to call that and like to order via telephone. That's also on their contact page. So InfidelBodyArmor.com or 888-608-6605. We'll be right back. Stay with us to break down the latest on global governance.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
The image of 85, 88, 90, 92, 95-year-old World War II vets some of them are only in their mid-80s because they would let 13 and 14-year-olds get in back then. I run into a lot of those guys, really amazing people. The image of World War II vets at the privately paid for, I helped raise money for it, a lot of you gave money to it, to the privately paid for, privately administered facility, the image of the World War II Memorial in the mall in D.C. with armed guards and police and park rangers who are normally not even there and don't guard it. It has private security, spending extra money, more security than they had at Benghazi to keep World War II vets out. It's despicable. And it shows the stunts they're pulling. And they've turned off all the webcams. They've turned off all the national parks websites. Going to work, so there's a message that you can't go to them on purpose with the few services government gives, and then treats you like crud when you're at a national park. It's incredible how bad they treat you. They'll run into the nice person occasionally, and it's like a breath of fresh air. I went to some national parks in England. They were actually pretty nice. It was like amazing to not be treated like dog meat or to be spied on. And this is the attitude of government. They want control of you so that you think that you need them. They're a mafia. Up on Infowars.com, Obama fines to be seized from bank accounts. Man who attempted to sign up claims he was threatened with driver's license being revoked. Federal tax lien on home. Well, there's no claim about that. And I'm going to have Watson add to this article. It's up on drudgereport.com. Remember, when they passed it 3 years ago, the IRS is the enforcer. And they said, oh, don't worry, we won't do that. Then they hired 3,000, then 5,000, then 7,000 people to administer this as they cut back the other people at the IRS, because now it's just going to be right out of your bank account. And it's going to be a $5,000 fine. They're going to pull out of your account. Some people it's $3,000, depending on your wages. They won't tell anybody how bad it's going to be. This is outrageous that this is going on. And it shows why you don't want to be in a cashless society, because it gives them total control. It's a lot worse than Bank of America trying to take $5 out. Remember a few years ago, if you want to use your ATM, your money. See, the money's so worthless now, you don't get any interest, and you actually have to pay money to have an account in many places. Welcome to the New World Order. Also coming up, Swiss Army war games, economic collapse, and refugee invasion of collapsing Europe. Our Pentagon's training for that while the globalists engineer it. This is very, very important. And out of that global crisis, they intend to bring in the control. Now, we're going to get more into the shutdown, the stunts that are happening, the World War II vets that are set to storm the Lincoln Memorial next. And we'll see if the Obamanoids do arrest them or assault them. They may be smart enough to back off, but we know they've put up barricades and are locking it down, spending more money. Most of them are not being furloughed. Just federal employees who are never coming back. In many cases, it's already been happening because the computer is going in, okay? That's how it works. The taxes go up. The government actually will start shrinking at some point. This is how austerity works. And then it'll all be blamed on those of us that don't accept the Obamacare. Now, while we're looking at Syria, while we're looking at the American empire implode by design, while we're looking at the government shutdown and Obamacare and all those nightmares unfolding, and the government website's not working for Obamacare, not because of a shutdown, but because they never got them in place because of the bureaucracy. While this is happening, as I told you a few days ago, globalism is expanding. The Trilateral Commission set up in the 70s by David Rockefeller, Zbigniew Brzezinski, and others, has the heads of state in Asia, in Europe, and in North America to create a trilateral or three-legged world. And in that trilateral world, they remove the national sovereignty to trade organizations, just like they set up the euro as the original model in 1957 with the Treaty of Rome out of Bilderberg, and that's all been declassified. Government is now below. State governments don't even count, but states, as in states of the World Union, they have a limited vote, what is it, about a third of the vote, versus the corporations, just like we saw in BAMP Canada, the documents 2007, they're an endgame, where in the meetings, the corporations are running it and literally shutting down their competition. Literally, that's what Dr. Paul Roberts has an article out today on Infowars.com, former head of the Treasury Department and Policy, saying it's another giveaway to private interest. Yeah, it's a direct tax, a direct ripoff, calling it socialism. That's why socialism is so bad, folks. It always gets taken over. It always creates gangs and special interests. That's why it doesn't work. Yes, if you had computers handing it out that were programmed by angels who weren't bad, then it might actually work, but would create laziness. Side issue. Joining us with a snapshot report, the full report's up on prisonplanet.tv. We did like 20 minutes live last night on the Nightly News. David Knight, I wanted you to focus in on this Pacific partnership and the agreements now with the North American Union and the EU. This is so incredibly important because this is their 19th meeting. This is global governance, in their own words, being established. David Knight.
It's gone on for several years, and I find it interesting. There's a lot of groups that you might say are aligned with the left, with the Democrats, who are aware of this. Pretty much people on the right have been fighting Obamacare. They're not even aware of this, and yet there's common characteristics between both of these. It really is a transfer. You know, we look at Obamacare, there's not any health care in that. As the Supreme Court said, it's a tax. But it's not really even a tax because the money's not going to the government. It's a transfer. I ought to call it Obama transfer. It's a transfer of wealth from the public to these few corporations. And as we talked about last night, and as Don Salazar had in his article last Friday, he showed the profits going up over the last 4 years, and the 8 biggest insurance companies gone up 200%, 300, 400, some of them 500% increase in profits. They know where this is headed. They knew that they were going to make a lot of money. People are just now finding out what's in it, as Pelosi said. We're now seeing that our rates are going up by 200% or more. Companies are being shut down. We have doctors going out of business. We have other smaller insurance companies going out of business. But these big insurance companies are making out like bandits. And that's exactly what's happening, going to happen with this TPP. They're meeting in secret. You don't have senators going. You don't have congressmen going. They've given this fast-track trade authorization to Obama, which means that he has something called a United States trade representative who's conducting all these meetings. And we've got up here on the document cam right now. This is the statement from September 9th. Their last meeting was August 21st. And he's addressing the stakeholders. Now, they're not talking about the public. They're not talking about congressmen. They're talking about stakeholders.
That's the owners.
That's right, the owners. That's not you and me. That's not the public. It's not our government. The stakeholders are these corporations. And he's saying that, well, we had to make some difficult decisions. Not everybody's going to agree with everything, but we wanted to keep you, our stakeholders, involved. And I've got 170 participants, and those are their stakeholders. Now, in some cases, it goes up to maybe 600 lobbyists from these large corporations. But you can't have the press cannot go in. It's just like Bilderberg. It's shut down. You can't have the press go in. Senators can't get in. Ron Wyden, who has complained about the secrecy in the NSA, has complained about the fact that they can't get in. They can't know what's in it. Some details have leaked out. We know that they've got a new court mechanism, which is just like they've had it in NAFTA, which is an investor state tribunal. Now, what they've done is it's almost like they've taken the Magna Carta and they've reversed it now to going back from a democracy. You know, that basically started moving the power away from the king, moved it out to a bunch of oligarchy, but actually it established some basic rights for individuals. Now they're taking those rights from individuals, they're taking it back to the oligarchy, and the oligarchy, these corporations are really taking everything over. They've elevated themselves to the level of the state. If they have a trade dispute, if they say that some new regulation that they've put in, let's say that they prohibit GMO, that they allow GMO labeling, and Monsanto says, well, that's a new law, and according to our trade agreements that we had in the past, you've now lowered our profit expectations. So they can take that government to court, not actually to court, to this tribunal, where the company appoints one of the people, the state, the government, appoints one person, and then they both agree mutually on a third person.
And it supersedes national sovereignty. This is direct global governance by the Fortune 500.
Yes.
In their own words.
Yes.
David Rockefeller has said that, and now they're almost there. And Obamacare is the perfect example. Trillions of dollars over the next 5 years, and total control directed to them and its attacks.
And I wish we could get both the left and the right to see what's going on. Obamacare is the same thing as these trade partnerships, the transatlantic, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP. They also have a transatlantic free trade agreement, TAFTA, like NAFTA.
That merges the EU with the North American Union,
yes.
And then they have agreements merging it with the Asian Union through the TPP. This is what we covered in Endgame 7 years ago, but now it's here.
That's right. Bilderberg, they're looking in secret at their long-term strategic planning. This is where they're hammering out the details. This is where they're pushing the button. This is where they're taking over our sovereignty, just like the FISA court is meeting in secret. Nobody even knew that existed.
By the way, these groups have tried to get the international agreements to censor the internet through.
Yes. And that's one of the things. I mean, internet, you've got all these groups that were fighting CISPA, SOPA, ACTA. They came at them through copyright because that's what these corporations are about. They're about asserting their ownership over everything, turning everybody into renters, whether it's really renting your house or whether it's renting intellectual property from them. They want to turn everybody into renters. They want to own everything. But it also works out for the governments because the governments can then avoid all due process. They can shut down anybody they want to by using a copyright claim. So this is this partnership between...
It's the same thing with the vitamin code or Codex Alimentarius. Same people running that, openly wanting to shut down everything, all types of supplements. They're not playing games. And in closing, Homeland Security is being set up in every nation as the system to suppress the people if they try to take their government back. This is a corporate global coup d'etat.
Absolutely. You've got groups who opposed SOPA and CISPA. Now they see this is going to be brought in with the TPP. They're getting involved and they're saying, wait a minute, that's not even trade. That's just pure censorship.
And the big issue is people are now starting to wake up to this. We're covering it. You're going to be covering on the nightly news all week and next week. We're really focusing on this, and we need viewers to focus on this and become aware of what's happening. Thank you so much, David Knight.
Thank you.
And he'll continue to join us throughout the week with other facets of this. Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
There are those curious about Bitcoins and those using and making money with Bitcoins. What are Bitcoins? A Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that can be easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees, and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. You are in control of your money. And the best part? You can start earning and making money with Bitcoins right away. No computer or expertise is required to earn money with Bitcoins, and a growing number of merchants now accept Bitcoins. Plus, they're easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. Learn more about the easiest, cheapest, most profitable way to enter the Bitcoin market and get paid every 2 weeks by one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. That's cloudhashing.com. We mine your business.
Great news, Pure Water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
That's the sound of a .44 Magnum and Trauma Max, a high-tech hybrid Kevlar bulletproof vest from InfidelBodyArmor.com. Will stop it and most pistol rounds. Trauma Max is a major breakthrough in pistol-rated body armor, and prices start at just $170 per insert. More protection, more stopping power, more mobility, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Get details at InfidelBodyArmor.com. That's INFIDEL Bodyarmor.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
All right, we're going to have Tosh Plumlee, William Robert Plumlee, very famous whistleblower, still working in clandestine operations. He's that deep into it with bombshell info that he exposed last week, dealing with Benghazi Gate. For this segment and part of the next, to get an update, and then I'm going to give the number out and take your phone calls at the bottom of the next hour. And then a good personal friend and co-author of many of his best-selling books. He was his source for a lot of his info. And Clancy said part of the composite character of Jack Ryan. Steve Pachenik's going to pop in at the bottom of the next hour for about 10, 15 minutes. Give us his take on that, but also what he thinks happened in the Naval Yard shooting. He's been wanting to get on about that. I want to hear his take on it. I don't know what it is yet. And he keeps calling for a revolution, just saying no to the tyranny. I think he's going to be excited about these World War II vets crossing the line at these national parks and also World War II Memorial that the government, it turns out, didn't pay for and doesn't run. That's now come out in the Washington Examiner in a story about how, I've got several articles here on it, in a story about how there's more security there than at Benghazi. And on top of it, they're putting more Park Service people out because obviously there's no real shutdown, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of like for several months they said there was no debt increase going on to get around the national debt limit. When Congress wouldn't pass a debt increase, they just said, oh, well, there's no longer a debt increase anymore. They just do whatever they want. They run the drugs. The government runs everything, folks, on record. It's a criminal mafia. You got a light side, you've got a dark side. So we're going to be breaking that down, too, and get Dr. Steve Pachenik's take on that. And a brief comment on the passing of Tom Clancy that's being reported. They don't know how he died. CNN reports author Tom Clancy, whose novel, The Hunt for Red October, propelled him to fame and fortune and status as a favorite storyteller of the American military, has died, according to sources with the publisher and family. He was 66. Man, that guy looked old back in the 80s when he was Reagan's favorite writer. When I'd see him on, like, Lair NewsHour and stuff. So 66. Shows what cigarettes will do to you, folks. Age you fast. Let's go to Tosh Plumlee, who, by the way, flew guns to Fidel Castro when he was a CIA guy in 1959, or I guess earlier. That came out in the famous hearings, in the church hearings. And then he was also in the Iran-Contra hearings. I won't go over his whole bio again, but Tosh Plumlee, did you get any heat for coming on last week and talking about your high-level NATO source, breaking down what really happened in Benghazi, sir?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Alex. Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it heat. I had been warned a little bit not to do this, not to go back on the air. It wouldn't be healthy, so to speak. But that's happened quite a few times in my illustrious career, if you want to call it that. So it's nothing to worry about. I mean, these things happen.
Well, I asked the question, how are you currently doing clandestine operations? I guess you're not talking about those, and so you can still keep, as a civilian, the job you have because you've been in the system so long. Is there anybody else like you that was flying guns around the world in the late 1950s who's still out there doing it?
Well, there's a lot of, like I said last week, I believe, there's a lot of people like me that are tied in with private contractors. Some of them are labeled as mercenaries. There's not that many as old as I am at this point, still active. But the operation, the way it's been for a number of years, is still ongoing in one form or another. I mean, it's, periodically the operation is taken off the shelf, dusted off, tweaked a little bit here and there, and then put back in. My association, I got out of it for a few years, got drawn back into it. People that I associated with in the Mexico thing, going back to Kiki Camarena when he was in Guadalajara, some of those operatives, some of those pilots, some of the deep undercover guys that were involved in Operation Penetrate have stayed engaged in one form or another. They've been asked to go back undercover with boots on the ground inside Mexico to train Mexican troops. Military-type operation. It was written about in 2009 and 2010 by Narco News. So these contacts that I have are what brings me back in, so to speak, as far as being a sanctioned government operator assigned to a particular operation. No, that doesn't happen anymore with me. My information comes from deep contacts that I flew, associated with, traveled with, so like that.
I understand, Tosh. I've got a lot of contacts in 18 years. I know how that works. Years go back 60 years. It's amazing. We're going to come right back to you, sir, on the other side to recap the bombshell on what really happened in Benghazi.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here. And I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
The world is discovering the power of medicinal silver to fight against life-threatening pathogens. And as a result, dozens of silver solutions have emerged. You can even make your own colloidal silver at home in your garage. How do you know which solution is the safest and most effective? Supernatural Silver is a new patented technology that is made using 10,000 volts of AC current. This technology is so powerful, it must be made in a laboratory. Colloidal and ionic silvers use a charge of only 110 volts of DC current, making supernatural silver hundreds of times more effective against viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural silver liquid can be used internally, and our silver gel can be used topically. To find out more information on how supernatural silver can help you win the war against deadly pathogens, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SAFE for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
It's always a tough vote because the average person thinks raising the debt ceiling must mean that we're running up our debt. Raising the debt ceiling, which has been done over 100 times, does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy. All it does is it says, you got to pay the bills that you've already racked up, Congress.
Just
listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Said I just got paid today and got me a pocket full of change.
Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. We're here. Back weeknights. 7 o'clock Central, InfoWars, and Nightly News. I'd like to get Tosh Plumlee on the Nightly News sometime with an expanded show for like 45 minutes, commercial-free, during the period he's on, to really be able to just break down the whole history of flying guns for the CIA to Fidel Castro. That came out in Congress. I mean, what a treasure trove of knowledge. But in the time we have with him here, he's pointed out that it's not his site, but it pertains to him and what came out in Congress. Some of it's still classified. ToshPlumlee.info. And we'll put that site up on screen for TV viewers. ToshPlumlee.info. You can find a lot of stuff there. Tosh, I want to just do this. I'm going to shut up, or I'll interject my points and ask my questions and divert you. You've gone on a limb to tell us about your high-level NATO source and the fact that they said that, look, this was under the Arms Import Act by the State Department that they used to arm people legally, but they use it to arm terrorists illegally because it violates the federal law to arm terrorists, but they used a legal program to transfer them. And you notice Obama then signed an order 3 weeks ago saying they can now arm terrorists, but that's retroactive to cover their behind. And that you had other sources that confirmed what the NATO high-level officer told you, that this was pretty much, just to recap what you said, a hit on Ambassador Stevens and others because they were sending cables back saying, we don't want to give these Stinger missiles, not just stuff they got from Gaddafi, French missiles and others, but that it was actually an arms transfer with the ambassador from Turkey as well, who was supposed to take them back up to al-Qaeda and other extremists in Syria. And that the ambassador left, got upset. This is the same intel I was given, by the way. We're already on record saying this from our sources, but this is what they were told. You talked to a source in NATO who could confirm it, and then others that did, and that it was an actual hit, and that it wasn't Libyan arms that was being transferred. It was directly from the State Department. And so, recap in your own words what you said last week, and the fact that no media picked it up, by the way, and Fox News contacted us. We have that email and their number. So if you want that, Tosh, we'll give you that. If you want to talk to Fox News, you may have already talked to them, but I wanted to talk to you before we gave them your number. So you've got the floor for 10 minutes to get out whatever you think is most important for people to know and to recap exactly what your NATO source said.
Okay, Alex, I'll try to sum it up this way and make it as brief as I possibly can. Yes, I have talked to Fox News. In fact, I was interviewed by them day before yesterday. Should air sometime next week. This was mainly in reference to Carl Quintero and the CIA training base, training Guatemalan guerrillas and C-130s flying arms down into that area right after the southern front of WWII and Contra was set up. Now, the reason I brought this up, maybe I can tie it in. Some of my sensitive sources were involved in that operation back in 80s and 85. Most of those guys, some of them have retired. However, the lineage that those contacts and those undercover officers made, which was actually around the time of Tito Camarina's assassination, they have also come up into the Mexico operations and boots on the ground inside Mexico, training the Mexican Marinos in drug interdiction programs and that. One of the commanders, a high-ranking military official out of the Pentagon, was sort of in charge of that operation, and he got transferred over to Afghanistan a couple of years ago after he had completed the AMSOG operations in Mexico City, in the Mexico area. All right. One of a NATO source, an inspector, had made contact with his team and told him a fascinating story about they had uncovered U.S.-made weapons in safe houses in Jordan and Turkey. All right. My source and his team started investigating that. There was, again, another leak about that was starting to come out. I was contacted by two sources, the NATO investigator to confirm what my friend from the Mexico operation had told me, also what was going on inside Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan, and Qatar. And these were safe houses that had U.S.-made weapons stashed in them, allegedly at that point in time controlled by the CIA, a faction within the CIA, an operation, and those weapons were being dispersed to different factions within the Syrian rebel army or whatever was at that point in time trying to be formed. The bombshell about that was in order to protect that crew and the information that was coming out through Middle Eastern channels, it was very important that this crew be protected. So the best way to protect them was for someone like me, which I had done with the AMSOG operation in Mexico, is to contact sources of mine and tell them this story, simply that U.S. weapons were in safe houses being transferred to Syrian rebels, and the ambassador, one of the leaks that this group was concerned about, had became privy to that information, and he had sent a series of dispatches back to State Department, and I think also the DOJ, about the allegations that military people inside the Middle East and Afghanistan were saying that they had been running across U.S.-made military weapons and was trying to figure out where they were coming from. Well, the safe houses later were exposed, and stashes were found by investigators in that area, and that was also reported to the ambassador. The ambassador found out about Stinger missiles being in these safe houses in Jordan. He reported that back to the State Department. State Department refused to make that public to some Senate investigators. One of them, I think, was but Congressman Grassley, and I believe that it was investigating that time the Fast and Furious operation. Also, at that particular time, weapons had been found inside Mexico, U.S.-made high-impact weapons. I had already previously photographed those weapons, but staging areas inside Mexico. That's another part of this story. So at that point in time, the ambassador, his crew, started their own investigation into the allegations that came from the NATO inspector and also the high-ranking military out of the Pentagon officer that was in charge of launching that particular investigation, trying to find out where those weapons were coming from and who had authorized their shipment. In the process of his investigation, he found the fuel receipts, flight plans of the C-130 that came direct from American soil in certain places, cutout places, and also civilian contract aircraft that had been transporting those weapons to Jordan and cutout companies, and well, not companies, cutout countries, and into these CIA safe houses or these CIA cutout companies, private contractors that were running these safe houses, and was responsible for sending those weapons to allegedly the Syrian rebels. Syrian rebels at that particular time had been fractured into many different splinter groups, and some of those splinter groups had been filtering and actually given those weapons to be used again. And also, it was reported by that source that those weapons were found at the crime scene when the ambassador and his crew was killed or murdered, in my opinion. I don't know if that followed that lineage. That's sort of the lineage. Basically, summing it up, a source that had worked the Mexico operation, trained Marinos in Mexico, transferred to Afghanistan, got with the NATO inspection team, found out about this information. The information was passed to the ambassador. The ambassador made a series of reports to the State Department. The State Department refused and actually told them to stand down. There was no investigation launched. That was a few months before the attack on the embassy. And so my sources, three sources actually, in the Middle East, says that the ambassador and his team was eliminated so that these weapon shipments from the direct commercial sales program, which is a legal operation, would not be exposed, and it would not be exposed that the Syrian factions within the Syrian rebels were receiving arms from that program sponsored by element factions within the CIA. These were not rogue factions. CIA has an operation within the CIA that the mainstream of CIA does not even know exists. And that's been going on in my career ever since 1956, 57, in one form or another. Like I said, taken off the shelf, dusted off a little bit, retooled, retrofitted to fit in the modern, whatever the politics of the time.
Well, sure. I mean, there's all sorts of criminal groups and smaller operations and different sectors and different agencies that have splinter groups within other agencies. And it's all basically very Byzantine. And a lot of this, as you know, because you were part of the testimony in Congress, has come out over the years. And it's not just black projects. There are secret projects within projects. And an example of that is they supposedly set up the Delta Force in the late 1970s. But there are all sorts of groups in the Army above even people that are officially in the Army. And there aren't even really contractors from what I've been told and what I've seen. It's just completely secret armies.
That's right. You know, when I'm saying splinter groups, factions, these are not rogue operations. These operations are actually controlled by the Pentagon with White House knowledge. Have been all the time. In fact, when people say there's a secret army out there, there's a secret government, so on like that, to some extent that is absolutely right. There is this operation within our own government, that elements within our government and our Congress, House and Senate, and all these idiots back there, in my opinion, but that's another story in itself. It's so convoluted and complicated and compartmentalized so that good investigators doing legwork get so muddled down you can't untangle it. In the process of trying to untangle it, you become known as a conspiracy freak. And that's designed in order to cover and shield those operations and stop the exposure from that. I'm no way against my government. This is an actual thing that's going on within my government. People like me, the only way we get protected there, Alex, is going on the record before the fact. I've got a lot of friends that are no longer with us because they didn't go out and talk to different people.
And by the way, Tosh Plumlee's our guest, famous whistleblower from the church hearings and the Iran-Contra hearings, and still a contractor, or you could say a mercenary, with just amazing contacts out there, and 76 years old, was part of the CIA operation to first arm Castro, then to fight Castro. All that came out in Congress. Simply amazing and a treasure trove. I'd like to invite you whenever you'd like, this week, next week, whenever, to come on for a full 30, 40 minutes on the Nightly News to really just cover history and get it on record. But people could take a lesson from what you've said here today, sir. And that's that being in the sunshine is what protects you. People think cowering to tyranny is what protects them. It's the opposite. We all need to get out in the sunshine. Just like Jim Garrison said, that's where we have protection. Evil is defeated by being fought, and a free people will aggressively defend their liberty. A slave people will bow to the system. Go ahead.
Well, okay, the one reason I can come out is I am not a government agent. I am not employed by the government. I do not receive a paycheck from them. In fact, I don't receive any money at all, and I'll make a point of that. Which the reason that I'm talking is not really to expose anything, but to get the dogs of war off my butt if they want to come out and start gunning for me. I mean, they can do that anyway. I've already been warned to basically shut up because I'm getting too close to classified information. But the Benghazi thing, the reason it got me in this, the reason it came out, and I think I covered this last week, Alex, was Mrs. Smith made a tremendous plea to our State Department to tell what happened to her son.
And so now you're telling her there's nothing like a woman, a mother, or a wife calling for justice that stirs a man's heart. Tosh, we're going to talk to you again very, very soon. Thank you for your courage. And folks can check out those documents, of course, on the site that I mentioned earlier. That's not your site, but you're saying it has some important information. ToshPlumlee.info. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh, wow. What an amazing individual. We're going to come back and open the phones up for your take on Obamacare, the vets storming the beaches again. They did it back in 1943, and they're doing it again at D-Day. It's very sad that it's going to be World War II vets that know that it's outrageous to block the memorials. Everyone should be joining the vets right now. I want to go join them. This is outrageous. I want to go to other national parks with the vets and stand against the federal goons who are out in force saying you can't come on your own land. These are disgusting, disgusting people. Before we go to break and come back with your calls, the toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. We sold out of the Survival Shield nascent iodine that's known to protect the thyroid so much better than other forms of iodine, and just incredible health effects for myself, the energy, weight loss, you name it. You've heard doctors on the show, people like Dr. Grube, talk about how amazing it is. This is double the strength, half the cost. More of it's coming in next week, so get your order in right now, and it'll be shipped out to you first when the truck gets here by early next week. They are manufacturing it. It's non-GMO. Absolutely, that is the corn-based glycerin that they use to make it is non-GMO, and it's the atomic form, the original iodine. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or InfoWarsStore.com will take you to the main shopping cart. InfoWarsLife.com will take you right to the subpage that has it. We also have all the great Modiphyllon seaweed that also has it in it naturally, and so many other great products at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Get your order in now, and also want to thank you for your support buying great products from us. It's a win-win to support the First Amendment and getting the info out. So get your order in now, so as soon as the truck comes in next week, you'll be the first to get it. Survival Shield by InfoWars Life at InfoWarsStore.com, or, again, InfoWarsLife.com takes you right to the subpage that has the amazing atomic iodine.
You've thought about it for years. Well, the time is now. You need a secret bunker, and you need it deep and strong. Atlas Survival Shelters should be your first and only choice. The experts at Atlas can help you choose a shelter that has all the comforts of your home and is 11 times stronger than square box shelters. Call Atlas at 1-855-4BUNKERS, 1-855-4BUNKERS, or visit IWantThatBunker.com. Atlas Survival Shelters. Better prepared than scared.
When the day comes where the world changes forever, you can be ready at a moment's notice. With Survivalist Camps, the ultimate fully functional off-the-grid survival bug-out house that's completely mobile and ready to go. All the comforts of an RV, but custom built to outlast any other trailer. Learn more at survivalistcamps.com. Due to overwhelming response, limited inventory is available. Be ready with survivalistcamps.com. Survivalist Camps, providing your basic needs to survive.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
I'm sick of how the big drug companies are keeping men from fixing their ED without pills. Matt Cook here from GetEDSolutions.com, and I've helped thousands of men fully recover from ED without pills, pumps, or supplements. But the big drug companies collect $5 billion in revenue from sales of ED medications. They don't want my message to get out.
Things are so much better now. Everything kind of came back overnight. My girlfriend, very happy.
I purchased your product yesterday, and it was fantastic.
I have used your system for about 3 weeks, and I'm already seeing great great results.
If you're one of the 52% of men who suffer ED, you must go to my website at GetEDSolutions.com and watch an instant web class that shows you how to get rid of your ED forever from the privacy of your own home. That's GetEDSolutions.com for an eye-opening web class you can watch instantly. You'll never be the same, and your wife or girlfriend will thank you because you were smart enough not to just believe the big drug companies, but to find out the truth about ED at GetEDSolutions.com. That's GetEDSolutions.com. GetEDSolutions.com.
Folks, I'll tell you, if I was in D.C. right now, I would be going down to the memorials with the World War II veterans that are showing up at the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, and just walking past the cops, the goon security guards, the goon National Park Service people that are out in mass fluttering around getting overtime pay to block everyone. You can't come in. You can't come in. I mean, they're all a bunch of socialist operatives. You don't get in these things down unless you're part of their little sick cult of government. And we've just got continual updates at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. I know Paul Watson's listening, but I'm going to call him up and get him to add to his article that's linked up on DrudgeReport.com about Obamacare fines to be seized from bank accounts. Because people are saying, they're calling up and being told this is the case. It's always been the case. The White House then lies and says they're not going to do it. They put the IRS over it. They say in the bill, you'll be fined $5,000. So, of course, they're going to take it out of your account. And then they lie and say, no, we're not, no, we're not, no, we're not. That's a military tactic. Just like he said he was against the NDAA when he wrote it and then said he wouldn't sign it. So there's never any opposition. That's a military tactic. I'm not assaulting you as I stab you with a bayonet. We are not assaulting you. We're not assaulting you as the tank fires machine gun bullets at you. I mean, this is military tactics they use against us. And we all just keep debating, is it an occupation? Are they the enemy? Their followers are idiots. The Republican leadership's part of it, too. They're freaking out, circling the wagons. They're scared of us, folks. They know America's waking up. I want to take your calls on this subject and more. Briefly, we have a new sponsor. I've been using them for a long time. They've stand up against FEMA. When FEMA wanted to buy all their food, they said no. They went public when nobody else would. Everybody else was scared and was selling them their food. They ship the food out really quick. It's super high quality. MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex to find their specials and more. Top-rated customer service. That's the real reason we've gone to them. They're just so good. We have to give you the best. Top quality products, incredibly reasonable prices. MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex. Delicious, nutritious, prepares in minutes. With all the crazy stuff going on in the world, just like Stuart Rhodes said yesterday with Oath Keepers, you got to get prepared. And they're a great sponsor. Buying from them, you support the show. Let's go to a call right now. Then for 30 minutes of the next hour, your calls. And then we got Steve Pachenik popping in. He was good friends with the late, great author Tom Clancy, who reportedly died today. Let's talk to Chris in Iowa. You're on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a while. I think I stumbled into a government-run kidnapping ring. Where,
is it the CPS? I mean, that's what they are. Well, sir, we're taking calls about the World War II vets storming the deal, but okay, sure. Tell me about the government kidnapping ring. Why don't you send us some information?
Well, because they've been trying to make me come up missing, and I've been dodging them, and it's getting crazy, and I thought the only thing that might help me would be getting it out to you.
Well, you know, I mean, if somebody tries to kidnap you, did you have a firearm?
At the moment, no. I mean, I own lots of guns, but I'm a felon for marijuana, so... No, I have...
Well, I'll tell you what, send me some info, sir. I appreciate your call. I get these calls like, 100 a week, people taking their kids, and I can't even help them because I can't even run my own life. I mean, I'm just here covering the tyranny, and I get these calls about everything. We don't screen calls, but if I say I want to get calls about the World War II vets, and then no one will call on that. Let's just talk to John in Maryland. Talking about Obamacare, at least that's close to the World War II vet stuff. John, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Alex. I want to talk about Obamacare and how it's hurting the little guy, because I have some friends in Ohio, and they've already lost half of their hours. And what is this, the second?
Yeah, and it's going to get a lot worse. It's designed to wreck everything, John. Were they Obama supporters before?
No. Absolutely not.
Tell you what, I'm going to come back to you, John. I want to hear about your friends. I want to personalize these victims of this economic takeover. That's what it is.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Ben Swan here. We are winning. Alternative media is challenging and beating mainstream media, and it's imperative for the liberty movement to continue this momentum. However, independent media cannot win without the support of sponsors and advertisers like Diamond Gusset Jeans. For over 26 years, Diamond Gusset has been owned by patriots with products designed for patriots. When I put on a pair of Diamond Gusset jeans, I enjoy the quality, comfort, durability, and style. Most importantly, my wife really likes them as well. From the cotton to the last stitch, Diamond Gusset bucks the industry standard by producing a 100% all-American product. Another reason for my endorsement. So Ben Swan is asking you to go visit DiamondLiberty.com right now. With promo code BEN, you will receive a 20% off discount on a pair of male or female Diamond Gusset jeans. Remember, DiamondLiberty.com, and you are directly supporting the growth of independent media.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We're taking phone calls on Obamacare, how it's affecting people, and what's your take on World War II veterans? The only people refusing not to bow to the little socialist park rangers, the anti-human eugenicists, I'm telling you, most of them are, henpecking at them, spending all this money putting up fences at the World War II Memorial that they don't even run. It's now come out. What is your take on that? We're talking to John in Maryland. John was discussing his friends that have been cut to part-time under rape care, under fraud care, under shut down the economy care, under kill the American economy care, under Cloward and Piven care. That's the sociological plan to bankrupt countries into socialism by overloading the welfare system. And all these idiots that don't, they're not idiots. They've been raised, domesticated, and they really think Obama wants to help them with the forced abortions, and not just in China, but in Africa now. And they're like, well, there are too many black people. I've had black folks tell me that, and I'm just like, but I mean, so it's okay to kill black people, but if I don't want to turn my guns in, I'm racist. That's right. It's just all like feeling like you're a winner and feeling like you're part of the system, and just it's cult-like, ladies and gentlemen. But even the dumbest Obama cult members are really starting to freak out now, saying, where's my goodies? It's really bad. And my big question to listeners is this, and I'm going to your calls. It's so over the top and such a rape is the only word to describe it. How do they think they'll get away with this? That's what concerns me most, is this is so reckless. It's like they don't care, like it's not going to matter soon. They just want to economically destroy us. They're so bad. I mean, we've had bad government for a while, but I mean, this is really brutal, folks. This is really bad. And they don't care. They're going to get the blame for it. What are they planning? I say big war, big false flag. Economic collapse, whatever. I don't know. But I mean, they're arming to the teeth against us and saying Americans are the enemy. So they're full-on occupiers. They're full-on globalists. We really are captured by people that see us as the enemy. We really are. Like that cop this morning running up behind each car and then running up behind other cars, messing with people. They're nuts. And more of them are like that. They just want to dominate us. I mean, I saw the state police guy doing that, running up behind each car and messing with them, and I was just like, I'm actually seeing a cop harass people randomly. I'm actually seeing an unstable, crazy person. And it's really creepy. And they think because they're in a uniform, they're God. Well, it's 100 times worse with the bureaucrats and the park rangers and all of them strutting around like arrogant, weird children. You know, like when you see an arrogant, spoiled kid and they have that arrogant look in their eye? That's what these government people and these senators are like. These are lunatics. I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up and go to your calls. John in Maryland, finish up your point about your friends.
Yeah, his name is Dave. He works at a sub shop, and he's lost about half of his hours, and we're only a couple days into this whole situation. He was talking to his boss, and his boss specifically told him that he doesn't think it's because of the Unaffordable Health Care Act.
Well, of course, the boss probably doesn't own it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give away the name of the sub shop because I'm not going to give away free
Subway, it's fine. Subway.
Yeah, well,
is it GMO way?
No, it's Firehouse. But I would also like to give you my testimony on a bad effect I've had on a psychotropic drug, if that's okay with you. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Sure, go ahead. Tell us.
When I was about 8 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And you know how they do it? They tell the teachers that if the student shows 6 signs of ADHD, then you get them diagnosed. And some of these signs are things like getting up out of your seat or answering a question before the teacher finishes asking the question. And it's just like any energetic kid is going to be doing those things. And
you know what? We're going to have you finish your story. I'm coming back to you because I want everybody to hear this. Yeah. Any mammal, a colt, a baby horse, a puppy, a baby canine, a baby dog, baby sweetie pie, they're going to jump around and do that too. That's normal mammal behavior. They list that as mentally ill, put you on soft kill weapons.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
Research shows that the next Great Depression is inevitable and unstoppable. It is suicide to not be prepared. Some reviews are already saying that Locusts on the Horizon is one of the best prepper books ever written. It provides over 1,100 pages for the full spectrum of vital prepper knowledge. It is encyclopedic in scope and size on how to prepare for the next Great Depression or a whole host of other looming threats. Whether it's a grid-down situation or the economic collapse that will be the next Great Depression, this book is affordable for everyone. The lives of you and your family are priceless, and this book could save them for only $2.99. Keep your family alive and together no matter what happens. You can read Locusts on the Horizon right now on any computer, any tablet, smartphone, or even online through the Amazon cloud. Time is running out. The time to prepare is now. Your copy of Locusts on the Horizon is available immediately on Amazon, or you can go to locustsonthehorizon.com. Again, that's locustsonthehorizon.com.
To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
The answer to 1984 is 1776. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are into hour number 3, and it warms my heart to see World War II veterans all over the District of Mordor, the District of Criminals, the District of Mount Doom, Mordor on the Potomac, to see them walking past the police, the security guards, and the socialist park police enforcers who treat everyone like absolute trash every time I run into them, just ignoring them. They're never even out there. They don't even run the World War II Memorial. It's now come out, but they're there blocking everyone and trying to make everyone's lives miserable because they are the parasites who want to make us feel like trash. And I'm not saying everybody that works for the federal government is bad, but it's a cult, folks, and you don't get into those areas now of henpecking enforcer unless you grovel to these people and go along with their system. So we're going to go to your phone calls. I know we've got Jeremy and RB and Mike and Debbie and Greg. I'll get to all of you in this segment and the next. Greg listening on KYAHAM there in Utah and others. We're going to get to everybody that is patiently holding right now. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. But before we go any further, I did a little piece last night in the 2-hour live InfoWars Nightly News. We did a 2-hour show last night with the crew, and they brought in a Gwar mask. That's the alien that fights Captain Kirk back in the 1960s, famous episode with the ridiculous fight that's so fake that it's comedy genius. We had joked around because there's a volcano outside Austin, an old volcano that looks like the same landscape as that famous fight, and it's an extinct volcano, and I joked we could get a Captain Kirk outfit, and then I would fight Rob Dew, who's a bigger guy, like 6'4" or whatever, and we do a fake fight as me as a pot-bellied Captain Kirk. I never got around to it. I like to do some humor. It's fun. People say, why don't you be more serious? But other people love it. I got to have a little fun or I go crazy, folks. I'm a very serious person. I need the humor. I need to have fun with this stuff, or I couldn't do it. And so we're going to fight Gwar soon. I mean, we have the full Gwar outfit. And we're going to go out and do it. Now, continuing, you can see here, this is Gwar. They bring the mask in during a 2-minute break. I impromptu put it on because we were already going to have an interview with Obamacare, being John Bound, one of the news directors, wearing the cutout mask that is absolutely essential to wake people up. The October issue has 2 Halloween masks. One is Obamacare on the front. It's a big, thick cover. You just cut it out, put a rubber band in it, and it's missing the lower mandible, so you can talk to people, and you cut out the eyes, and then you can go out and be Obamacare, just as John Bound did. But if you don't want to be Obamacare and go, oh, no, I'm death. I'm death panels. Death panels are cool, and use the satanic holiday to try to actually wake people up and fight for life, it's a great idea. You can also go out and be Prozac the Killer Clown, that's on the back that's really creepy, and wake people up. And he says right here, remember, kids, there's nothing better than mass murder, suicide pills. This is the new 68-page, color, glossy issue of InfoWars magazine. You can buy them in bulk at cost at InfoWarsStore.com, or get a subscription or give a gift subscription at InfoWarsStore.com. But a very special issue. Order it today so you can have it, even if you don't celebrate Samhain. I know I don't. Still, it's important to maybe go to a party or something, and then you can wear the Obamacare mask or Prozac the Killer Clown mask, or you and your wife could go as both of them, or you and your buddies, whatever, and then wake people up and have discussions. Oh, I'm Obamacare. I'm death panels. Or I'm Prozac the Killer Clown. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, InfoWarsStore.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And what made me think of Prozac the Killer Clown, if you're a radio listener, just go to the website. We should put this up as the featured image, Prozac the Killer Clown. It should actually be the featured image. Crop it and put it in the feature image of InfoWars.com. I'll have them do that so that everybody who's out there can actually, a radio listener can go see Prozac the Killer. We should put it up as a PDF so that people can print it on the site. These are the InfoWars Halloween masks. We could have a contest. Just people could send them in, and maybe the winner gets $100 or something. I don't want to turn it into another circus. And then have InfoWars Halloween masks to expose tyranny. Use every event as a way to wake people up. Pardon me? Jack-o'-lantern templates, absolutely. So there you go. So that when the druidic priest comes by, he sees that you're observing and doesn't ask for your kids. Normally, they'll just ask for your cow or a goat or a sheep to be sacrificed that they eat the meat of. That's their tax. But if you're the lucky house, they ask for your kid. Or sometimes as an exercise of power, they would ask for the Lord or King and then burn them at the stake. Anyways, it's all fun. It's all liberal. It's all trendy. So let's go ahead now and go to John in Maryland. John, so tell the story. You're 8 years old, standing up, talking in class. That's mental illness. All mammal babies, whether they're puppies, whether they're horses, colts, they all do it. That's illegal. That's bad. So they put you on mass murder, suicide pills that attack the brain, the heart, everything else. Tell us your experience that you were trying to tell earlier of being 8 years old.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am now 18 years old, and I haven't had a psychotic break since, but back then I had a psychotic break, and I tried to stab my sister with a kitchen knife.
And this was after they put you on it?
Yes. And then, like, when I remember you were talking about it probably a week ago, you were spot on. We went in there, well, we didn't tell the psychiatrist I tried to kill my sister, but they told them that I was having violent outbursts, and exactly what they did, just what you were saying, they treated the side effect with more psychotropic drugs.
Now, the average foster child is on 7 psychotropics. That's a national number. 7. And then they start having seizures, so they put you on anti-seizure medication, and then they kill you. We've had medical doctors on from the state that blew the whistle in San Antonio. We got them from a WWII investigation where they broke this about 7 years ago. And right at 67% of foster kids nationwide are on drugs, and the average is on 7. And the doctors were describing healthy 5-year-old kids and stuff and 3-year-olds who would cry for mommy, so they'd drug them. Then they would be bad, so they'd drug them more until they would actually have seizures, bite their tongues off, and then just die. So it's very liberal. Well, I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you so much. I mean, come on, kids. You know mass murder pills are fun. I mean, it says on the insert it'll make you go megalomaniac. It'll make you kill people. It'll make you kill yourself. They started death education in 1990 in public schools, and since then, the suicide rates tripled, so they expanded it. More suicide training, more pills, more death, more murder. It makes perfect sense because they love us. Oh, they're good people. Government's only killed hundreds of millions of people the last century. It's only the #1 threat, so it's extremist not to love it. Remember, kids, take the Prozac and see pretty colors. Let's go ahead and talk to Debbie in Texas. Debbie, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. How are you today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I had a psychotic break a long time ago and never came back.
I know what you mean. Well, I just thought I'd let you know that my husband's been receiving a pension from the United States government for 14 years, and every month, I call to check on it, and it says United States government. But as of October 1st, when I called to see if it had been deposited, it was classified as a tax refund. Now, I just want to know, are they going to start confiscating things as a pretense of a tax refund for Obamacare?
Ma'am, 100%. This has been done in Europe. It's been done in Asia. It's been done in Latin America. The reason we know exactly what they'll do is they're following a blueprint. And yes, they've already started taking the pension funds in Europe and the private bank accounts in Europe just across the board, 30, 40, 50%, depending on the country. They've already done it in Iceland. They said no and reversed it and arrested the government. We should do the same thing here. And yes, ma'am, listen, here's the deal. They want to destroy the system. It's not that we even spent too much. The truth is, in an industrial society, we should all be working 2 days a week and be fabulously rich. The actuaries are all out there. They call that an overheating economy, though. They want a post-industrial economy, and yes, ma'am, if they can get away with it, they plan on nationalizing the private pensions and then taxing them, and then over a period of time, cutting them down to a shadow of what they were.
Well, by the time you pay for your health care, there won't be any pension left. But I would like to know if anyone calls in, if anyone is a Social Security check, recipient, if that's been reclassified on their direct deposit.
Hey, listen, starting 2 years ago, we never even did a report on this. We ship a lot of postage, worldwide. Do you know what the USPS, the U.S. Postal Service, what you now pay in internationally, what they convert our dollars over to? It's not euros. Guess what they convert it to?
SDRs.
SDRs, strategic drawing rights. We're already under global government. It's already unlimited. The bankers run everything. They have unlimited money, and they use it as a weapon to crush us. The power to tax is the power to destroy. And 2 years ago, it was actually 3 years ago, they started saying SDRs, and we called them. They go, we don't know what that is. So they called their bosses, and we checked online. It's under SDRs. Yeah, there it is. U.S. Postal Service starts quoting SDRs to dollar conversion rates, and IMF endorses replacing dollars with SDRs. Yeah, there it is. Started in 2009. Yeah, 3 years ago. Or 4 years ago. Meanwhile, the Southern Poverty Law Center says I'm a racist with no proof, and I'm lying to you that world government's being set up, even though I can show you 50 world leaders saying that. It's an enemy operation, folks. They just lie to you straight up while they amass paramilitary force against us. We'll be right back with more calls. Stay with us.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Available only at hempusa.org. It's the first aid stick, and it's a must-have in any medical kit with fast, chemical-free healing. The first aid stick stops bleeding, kills bacteria, is great for acne, insect bites, minor cuts and abrasions, will last for years, and is just $11.95. Everyone needs the first aid stick in their emergency kit. Call 888-910-4367. 888-910-4367. The first aid stick, only at hempusa.org.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
To thank you for being a loyal listener, we have a limited time freebie offer for you. Claim your free heirloom tomato seeds, just pay shipping, right now at 123freeseeds.com. These aren't ordinary seeds. These are heirloom, non-genetically modified super seeds. that are open pollinated and can be grown, harvested, and replanted endlessly. These survival seeds are actually more valuable than gold in a crisis. Go to 123freeseeds.com and you can get an airtight storage packet of 150 super seeds free while supplies last to say thank you for being a loyal listener. First come, first served. Just cover shipping. Go to 123freeseeds.com now to see if your free heirloom seeds are still available. That's 123freeseeds.com.
Let's go back to your phone calls, and then we're going to have Dr. Steve Pachinik pop in. He knew, co-wrote books with Tom Clancy, who reportedly died today at 66. I thought Tom Clancy was 66 when I was a kid. Anyways, the point is, he looked like he was 66 when he was 5 years old. I'm sad he's dead. It's just, I didn't know he was only 66. That's coming up. But right now, let's go back to your phone calls. Jeremy in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, hey, how's it going? I just want to say right now you have the people's respect. What you're doing is outstanding. I thank you personally for going out there, putting everything on the line.
No need to thank me, brother.
Your message. Well, I work actually at the courthouse, which was just mentioned earlier about the whole malpractice thing. My biggest thing, though, is people here just don't want to believe it. They don't believe. So I put your show on from time to time and just watch their eyeballs pop right open. Now, my biggest thing is the question, why? Is this really down to some old bloodline really trying to keep the wealth within, and these people are just crazy? Or, I mean, is this really down to the fact of the petrodollar where nobody's accepting us because our country is flat broke?
Well, oligarchs have always interbred with each other, and we call that royalty. And then they tend to become mentally ill, even more so from the interbreeding. That happens with any species, especially mammals. So they're already aggressive and psychopathic, have genetic traits that tend towards that. Then you interbreed elites throughout history. I don't care whether it's in Africa or Asia or Europe or anywhere. They become criminally insane. And they adopted in the 1850s Darwinism and social Darwinism and then eugenics, which is a system of dumbing us down, not trying to build better people. That's public eugenics. And that's bad enough. And Hitler was just an offshoot of them. And yes, they want to control the future. They don't want all these better energy systems and free energy systems that are being developed to be deployed. They do everything they can to try to create a dark age for us and a new technological Valhalla for themselves. An Asgard, a literal Mount Olympus. I mean, that's how they all describe it. I saw some comment on YouTube going, where is this that Google wants to be the mind of God? Where is this that Google says they're going to create a system so you can live forever? Where is, well, I don't know how stupid you are. I show the articles on air, but every time I mention something, I don't show it. If you can't find that using the NSA interface, then I can't help you. And of course, the NSA interface is Google. You get limited answers. It gets all the answers, tracking everybody. You type in, head of Google says they're going into healthcare, plan to let people live forever. It comes up, AP, Reuters, Wired Magazine. You type in, CIA director says your dishwasher is watching and listening to you. Wired Magazine, Associated Press. I mean, I'm kind of going off the deep end here with one of my pet peeves. If you could, would you like to live forever? Google thinks you might. That's out of, what is that? The Wall Street Journal. That's out of the Entrepreneur. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And I just see this ignorance. People still think I'm making it up that they're crossing plants and animals and insects and then putting it in corn crops. They go, oh, you can't do that, you liar. And it's so frustrating to try to convince people who are like living in 1975 of what's going on when it's all admitted. But here's the deal. The elite themselves are smart, but they're not going to be able to manage all this. You know, some of the good news is they're trying to kick Bill Gates off the board of Microsoft right now. That's a good idea. Bill Gates is a demon, but that's a side issue. Did you want to say anything else, sir?
No, I just, what just puzzles me is that how this can't go into a positive direction. We can make a difference with this. If we do and you continue to spread the message, we awaken people, we grab their interest somehow, put this message into something that gathers their attention like they are doing in the negative ways. We can make this into something positive, but... I
agree. We have to fight InfoWars and promote the culture of liberty as the answer, as the solution to the 1984 culture of tyranny. And we have to promote a pro-human, positive, uplifting message versus their humans are ugly, we're bad, we're done for message. And point out that these are people that want to sabotage human potential because it threatens their monopoly. They are the enemy. We're going to have space colonies. We're going to have life extension. God's going to give it all to us. They've paid the churches off to say it's the end of the world, so we all think the ball game's over. It's not over. God has incredible things in store for us. Everybody in Nazi Germany thought it was the end of the world. People, when Titus sacked Jerusalem, they thought it was the end of the world in 70 AD. It's not. It's only the end of the world if we let the globalists do it.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
With over 3,000 years of historic use, pure silver continues to be one of nature's most reliable and effective agents against fighting viruses, mold, fungus, bacteria, pathogens, and parasites. At Silver Lungs, we have developed a reliable and easy-to-use full production system for creating endless pure nano-silver solutions right from the convenience and comfort of your home. Your self-produced nano-silver solutions can be applied topically to the skin. For many who are new to silver that wish to try silver for the first time, we offer a full line of consumables and cosmetics, such as our 2-ounce nano-silver nasal sprays, our nano-silver soap, and our most popular product, the all-natural nano-silver gel. Visit www.silverlungs.com to learn more about the industry-leading technology of the Silver Lungs system. That's www.silverlungs.com.
Alex Jones here, and I want to tell you about a longtime friend of the show, My Patriot Supply. As you might remember, this is the company that stood up to the DHS and exposed FEMA's secret plan to begin hoarding emergency survival food. It has always been my belief that it's key to stand behind companies who share the same values as their fellow patriots. My Patriot Supply brings us their exclusive Patriot Pantry brand, along with many other fine preparedness products. I personally store and use their high-quality products. It tastes great, and it's easy to store for up to 25 years. For a limited time, you can save $50 instantly on a 4-week supply of food, along with other special offers. Visit mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today. With the New World Order making rapid advances on every front, it is essential to prepare with My Patriot Supply today.
Ben Swan here. We are winning. Alternative media is challenging and beating mainstream media, and it's imperative for the liberty movement to continue this momentum. However, independent media cannot win without the support of sponsors and advertisers like Diamond Gusset Jeans. For over 26 years, Diamond Gusset has been owned by patriots with products designed for patriots. When I put on a pair of Diamond Gusset jeans, I enjoy the quality, comfort, durability, and style. Most importantly, my wife really likes them as well. From the cotton to the last stitch, Diamond Gusset bucks the industry standard by producing a 100% all-American product. Another reason for my endorsement. So Ben Swan is asking you to go visit DiamondLiberty.com right now. With promo code BEN, you will receive a 20% off discount on a pair of male or female Diamond Gusset jeans. Remember, DiamondLiberty.com, and you are directly supporting the growth of independent media.
Suddenly a man starts acting strangely. He starts saying, "I'm God, I'm in in charge. LAX police and arrest that man, and he turns out to be a TSA agent. I am God. I'm in charge. I'm in charge.
I have power. I have power. I have power.
We gotta take the power back.
You want to stop tyranny? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Take the power back. Come on, come on. We gotta take the power back.
That's right, folks. We have TSA.
They went down around my ankles.
We have TSA agents running around saying that they're God and they have power, raping women, child molesters. They're hiring defrock priests to head it up. They're caught robbing people coast to coast. You've got all these criminals joining government to abuse people. We've seen this before. It's the cancer of authoritarianism, the cancer of tyranny, where the power structure wants to get more and more bad people in place so we can do incredibly corrupt things. But the spirit of liberty is reigniting. He hadn't been on in a while. I want to get him on for a full hour next week to talk about geopolitical issues. StevePachinik.com is the website. He's a medical doctor, PhD, was also an officer in the Navy. He's a psychiatrist and former State Department official, author, and publisher. He headed up the Camp David Accords famously with his psychological warfare, The Truth, to get that one peace deal done that actually did some good. Just amazing. And he's also a critically acclaimed author in psychopolitical thrillers and the co-creator of the best-selling Tom Clancy Op Center and Net Force and more. And he's also produced big movies as well. People know who he is, but I don't tend to ever tell you who he is when we go to him. He's trained in psychiatry at Harvard University and international relations at MIT. And his novels are based on over 20 years experiencing and resolving international crises and hostage situations for the Department of State for 4 administrations. And Clancy has said on record that part of the composite of the Jack Ryan character is Steve Pachinik, StevePachinik.com. He's only with us for about 10 minutes. We'll get him on next week for a full hour if he can do it, talk about everything that's happening in the world. But Tom Clancy reportedly died today. They still haven't said why he died. The author of The Sum of All Fears, The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, a franchise worth billions. And Steve Pachinik knew him for a long time and was his friend. Steve, the passing of a great author.
Yes, it is. He was a great author, a great friend, and a great American. He loved America, and he is really the personification of the American who tries to aspire to be something more than he is. Most people don't realize that when we first met about 20, 30 years ago, he had written a phenomenal novel that became a bestseller, but at the time it hadn't been. It was called The Hunt for Red October, and what people didn't realize at the time is that he had been an insurance salesman on Chesapeake Bay, and when I read it and I was introduced to him, I had mistaken him with all my experience in the Soviet Union in the military. I had thought whoever wrote The Hunt for Red October was this brilliant Soviet expert who'd been a submarine commander. And then when I met him, and he and I sat down and we had lunch, our first lunch for over 20, 30 years, he told me he was an insurance salesman, and he really acquired information but just asking his clients. And I was just stunned. And we developed a strong friendship, and then he and I developed the books that then became famous, Tom Clancy's Op Center, Net Force, and he was part of the TV shows as well. He was an incredibly humble man, very funny. I mean, one of the things that people don't realize, and I'm proud to say on the Alex Jones Show, he was a real patriot. He cared a lot for America. He would have served if he could have, but unfortunately he had a very bad eyesight. And but he knew more about military strategy and tactics than any two generals that I knew of. And he was a very humble man. If you told him about, how great a writer you were or whatever it was, he would put it down. He'd say, that's enough talk. And, I would watch, and he and I would work for hours together, and people would say, God, it's so easy to write. And he would tell you, no, it's very hard work. He had no pretense about himself as a great writer. He said, look, I know America. I know my readers. And I write for my readers. And in one case, I remember very well, we were out in Hollywood, and I was having a very hard time putting the show together. And he and I worked together on the TV scripts. We actually wrote one of the first scripts on the Internet, on the computer. I think it was Apple at the time, and 20, 30 years ago. And And he wrote a brilliant script with me, and then when we went out, and I don't want to mention the man's name, and he pitched a story that Tom had come up with about the White House and stories that occurred in the White House. And this individual who's still there in Hollywood and is a senior executive said to Tom, no, that's not a good idea. I think that's really quite terrible. And Tom said, no, listen, the stories about the White House I think will be great stories, and what goes on internally. And the suit, I just call him the suit, although he's a senior executive still there. Tom said, look, I may not be the greatest American author in the world, but I certainly know the American audience better than anyone, and I predict that stories about the White House internally on a TV show will do extremely well. Well, needless to say, we were turned down, and I turned to Tom afterwards and I said, welcome to Hollywood. This is the problem we have. Of course, a year later, West Wing became the predominant show. I'm not saying it came out of our pilot, but it was very close to it. And Tom had an uncanny sense of what the American audience needed and wanted, and I give him full credit for understanding where our strategy and tactics and our military was going. He was a great friend of the military. He donated a lot of time and effort to our military, and also a great friend to those in need. So he will be sadly missed, and I certainly will miss him as a friend and as a collaborator. And we developed about 20, 30 books together, and it was fun. It was fun, and it was tough. Nothing came easily, but I think his story should be an inspiration for all Americans. Whoever you are, wherever you are, an insurance salesman who's working as an insurance salesman and writes on the side and is not necessarily encouraged to write, becomes one of the world's most famous writers. And I think that's the inspiration that you really get from Tom Clancy. And I never forgot it because he was always an inspiration to me. He was an inspiration to young authors and other authors. Unlike many writers, he was very happy for us to meet other writers, Brett Forsyth and many, many other writers. And he was very generous with his time. What he could not tolerate was the pretense of a literary world or a world that had ideological pretense to it. I'm not saying necessarily liberals or the left wing, but if a reporter would say to him, you know, you're releasing secrets to terrorists, he would sarcastically respond, I don't remember Osama bin Laden writing me any letters or Al-Qaeda reading my books. And much of his success was really due in large part to a woman who was the publisher at Berkeley Putnam named Phyllis Grant, who really should receive a lot of the credit for having taken the initiative to publish him and really take him to the forefront of literature. And this is the case where a publishing company really did work in close ties with Tom, myself, Berkeley Putnam, and then eventually some of the books remained with Berkeley Putnam and some of them went with me to St. Martin's, where a new book will come out called Out of the Ashes. And for years, Tom and I would talk about what happened to the Christians in the Middle East, because he and I were concerned. I mean, many people talk about Jews in the Middle East and the problems, but Tom and I for years had been talking about the real issue is the Coptic Christians, the Christians who are being slaughtered in the crossfire between Sunnis and Shiites. And for years we talked about a book that we should write concerning the fate of the Christians in the Middle East. And almost 15, 20 years ago, in his prescient way, he spotted Syria. And he spotted Iran and Syria as we were writing different books on that. And he said, let's focus on Syria. And I took that idea with him, and I took it to St. Martin's Press, and a book is coming out called Out of the Ashes, which has to do now, ironically and presciently, after 15, 20 years, about the slaughter of Christians in the Middle East, in Syria, along with the Druze, the Shiites, the Sunnis, and others, and the support they received from Russia and Iran versus Saudi Arabia and the other Sunnis. So our ability to really go over conversations is almost like a strategic planning analysis. If you were to hear what we talked about, just two guys informally sitting in shorts and T-shirts, he was smoking and I didn't smoke, and sometimes I'd say to him, Tom, could you just, blow it outside? And sometimes I'd have to hide the cigarettes for him, and then he would kind of force me and intimidate me to find out where I hid the cigarettes, but in the long run, I gave them up. But he was a great friend. I will miss him. I think America will miss an American hero and patriot. and really one of the great writers of American literature for the 20th century. So I feel honored and very pleased that you bring me on your show to say this, because I think he would have been very honored to be celebrated on your show, Alex. He was a great admirer of your show. He always listened to it. He and I would talk about it, and he would always be amazed by some of the things that you did and what you had said about 9/11 and you and I. And you know, he never contradicted people. And when he did, he was very forceful. He had his own ideas. But contrary to what most people thought, he was not a ideologue in the strongest sense of the word. He would always listen to somebody's comment. He would always listen to the argument, and he would learn. You know, there were many times we had different perspectives, and I would change my perspective. He would change his perspective, and it was always a really fascinating relationship. I almost felt as if I had been tutored and worked with a Jesuit. You know, he was the finest of Jesuit training in the best sense of the word, and Baltimore should be honored to have him as their favorite son. But also, I think the Jesuit training really came out in his literature, his analytical ways, his perspective, his detail and understanding.
By the way, Doctor, I don't want to interrupt you, but you just dropped a bombshell. I mean, I think once you'd mentioned that Tom was aware of my work years ago, and I've been interviewing you now for about 12 years, or right at 12 years. But I'm blown away. Tom Clancy was a regular listener?
Well, he listened to your work, yes.
Wow.
He listened to what you had to say. He didn't comment on it, but he listened to what you had to say. He was very interested in almost all perspectives on the ideological spectrum, from the extreme right or left, but he didn't categorize you. He would listen to what I would have to say, but your shows and perspective. And he wouldn't say very much. He discussed some things. We would talk a little bit about it, and then we would go on. But honestly, he was not an opinion. He was opinionated at certain points, but overall, he had a very broad perspective over many issues, and he was willing to listen.
Was he suspicious? Was he suspicious of 9/11?
Yes. He kind of answered it in a way. You have to remember one thing. Tom's brilliant book was written where he literally described in 1996, and he and I talked about it, the attack of a plane into the Capitol building. So when Condoleezza Rice responded in front of the 9/11 Commission that nobody had ever thought of this concept that a plane could have been attacking any one of our buildings, Tom and I talked about it. And what are you talking about? You know, this Tom Clancy had written about this almost 10 years beforehand, and it was well known. And often when I had to do the off-center series with one of my writers, Jeff Roman, we would have to clear it with, at that time, if, you know, we had a perspective or scenario, and Tom knew this, that could have been a potential terrorist threat, like a bomb in a tunnel, we would often clear it with some national security individuals to say, look, we're going to write about this. We don't want it to happen. But, you know, that's what we're talking about. So he was very much aware of the present threats and the clear and present dangers. He was very, I think...
Sure. Well, I mean, plus I did see the media after 9/11 try to claim that that book you guys came up with and the plane flying into the Capitol, that you may have given al-Qaeda the idea. That's ridiculous. They had Navy drills...
No, we didn't give them the idea. No, it was the other way around.
Exactly. I was about
to the fact that the administration was lying.
Well, I was about to say, it came out there were Navy drills of the Capitol being attacked by a jumbo jet in 1977. They had drills in the 90s, and that's probably, I'm guessing, where Tom and you picked that up, right, was the drills?
Well, honestly, no. He came up with the initial idea, and I said, you know, I think it's a brilliant idea. You know, I don't think the probability of that happening, from my perspective, in reality, was not great at the time. This was when we were writing. He was discussing the book.
My point is, you didn't give al-Qaeda, you didn't give the al-Qaeda the idea. Plus, we know the official story is a fraud. And let me stop you there. So since you're coming on for a full hour next week, I wanted to get you on for a full hour, but you can't do it today because of time. Let me bring this up to you, Dr. Steve Pachinik, former head of State Department Psychological Warfare Operations. Let me bring this up. I'm sure you know, Cy Hirsch came out last week. Drudge Report carried it in The Guardian. InfoWars has the story. Seymour Hersh, Bin Laden raid, one big lie. He says it's 100% false from his sources. I don't want to go into details, but we're in contact with Cy Hirsch. Well, let me just tell you.
I have a great respect for Cy Hirsch. First of all, I knew of Cy Hirsch for over 20, 30 years. Secondly, Cy Hirsch's sources are impeccable. I can tell you that from all the way back in the Reagan and Nixon administration. Thirdly, Cy Hirsch's wife is a psychiatrist who was trained by one of my friends. So not because he and I agree, I'm just a great admirer of Cy Hirsch, and I know his sources are impeccable. I know he's a critical thinker, and he's nobody's fool. So I said this a long time ago. There was no raid. There was false flags, and we have an administration where the president is constantly doing this, and that's why I want the American public, and thanks to you, Alex, for bringing this up repeatedly. I can go into detail about the Navy Yard and why it's a false flag, but, you can't have a psychotic who's paranoid and listening to waves and having delusions, having a security clearance, and at the same time...
I was about to say, the fact that the police came all these times and didn't pick him up, and then they let him in, it looks like, from what I've seen, it looks like there was some kind of a drill. He was set up. I know you say you have intel, but you wanted to talk about it, and then we were going to go off into Clancy today. Do you want to briefly tell us what happened at the Naval Yard?
Well, it's a total false flag. It's like Newtown. I mean, it's not possible. You see films of people laughing beforehand who are announcing. You have a scenario that's totally concocted. It's totally out of control. The Chief of Naval Operations, Greer, knows he has a problem, that he testified before Congress and the Senate. He can't have the budget he needs. He shouldn't have warships. He shouldn't need destroyers. He doesn't need a...
So it's about the sequestration, and I saw your article or your comments at Steve Pachenik.
It's about sequestration and what the Navy does desperately in order to maintain their budget. They don't need it. We have a problem in terms of what we need the Navy for. It's used for denying access.
Sure. Separately, Doctor, do you have any info on the missing warheads from Dyess Air Force Base?
No, Alex, I have no idea. But let me just finish with Tom Clancy to say, he began with Navy submarines, and he had a great respect for the Navy. But now, America has to understand from the Clancy books and my own books, the books we wrote, this country is capable of writing false narratives. And unfortunately, they're in our business, where Tom Clancy and I were writing fiction. And a lot of what's happening from the intelligence and military community is fiction. And if they think the American public is that stupid that they're going to buy 9/11 or Osama bin Laden or killing Osama bin Laden, they have a big mistake. And that's the beginning of the ending of a constitutional democracy where you belittle your own citizens. And the fact that Tom Clancy was able to predict what's going to happen, the fact that he wrote about these elements, and then the fact that we have different administrations lying repeatedly, it's not going to work.
Well, Doctor, take the good news, though. The public now knows the government's running al-Qaeda. Karl Rove said famously to the New York Times and Washington Post at a cocktail party, doesn't matter what reality is, we control reality, and like lapdogs, you're going to agree to whatever the new reality is every day, 2 + 2 = 5. Now they teach that to the public school kids, 2 + 2 = 5, teaching them false reality, teaching them magical thinking, sabotaging them intellectually. I mean, I've studied a lot of history like you have, Doctor. I've never seen such a mentally ill group of elites myself who are messing with the public as some type of weird fetish. I mean, this is beyond tyrants. This is mass mental illness by the ruling class, and their instinctive hatred of free market and America, I think, will be their undoing. They are acting like lunatics, transparently trying to block World War II vets from the World War II Veterans Memorial, running around, foaming at the mouth, harassing the public. I mean, I think we're seeing a Nero or Caligula-like madness.
Well, let me put it this way, since I am a psychiatrist. We have a saying, I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Right now, what you're not seeing is a lunacy or irrationality. You're seeing a very calculated program of trying to control the American public to access the programs or the storylines that the government wants them to listen to. In other words, 9/11, so that they could go to war in Iraq. That didn't work. We went to war in Afghanistan. That didn't work. We went to war in Yemen. That didn't work. So our military has failed us. Our leaders of the military have failed us. The leaders of our intelligence, John Brennan, Donlin, Biden, all of what I call the choir boys have failed us. So now it's time for the American public to stand up in a constructive way and say to our legislators and our leaders, it's enough. The history of America is not about false narratives and fake stories and make-believe attacks and killings like Obama has talked about. It's not lunacy. It's the attempt of power and greed to really control a democracy. We are still a republic. The republic has to respond. If you have done nothing else, Alex, and why I enjoy working with you and talking about you, you've had the courage to state certain things in a certain way. That's your prerogative. And you did it 15, 20 years ago. When I went on the show and I said, Osama bin Laden has morphed and he's dead, but I could predict on the Alex Jones show that 10 years from 9/11, they're going to pull out Osama bin Laden, whoever the president is going to be, and make believe they killed him, and they fell into that intelligence trap. What you have is mediocre, ineffectual leaders who can fall for one psyops glitch that I set up 10 years ago. If you have that kind of incompetency, which is what we have in the military and the intelligence community and the national security and in the White House, then you have a very low grade of leadership. And that's
sure. Well, I mean, Doctor, I'm not saying that they're going to marry their horse like Caligula. My point is, I get it's an organized program. They're trying to confuse everybody. They're trying to scramble everything. They're trying to make us basically mentally ill. I get all that, but I'm just saying I think they've conned themselves. They've jumped the shark. They've gone a bridge too far.
Correct.
And I really do think they're delusional at this point, because I see them losing on every front, and they seem to think they're in a great position. But you have your ear to the ground in Washington. Do they understand, or am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not wrong. I think the way to best say what you're saying is not that they are delusional, but it's basically the seeds of their own self-destruction were planted 30 to 40 years ago, right after Clinton came in. He assisted in the 9/11. 9/11 happened, then you had 2 terms with Bush Jr. and then 2 terms with Obama. The seeds of self-destruction in the national security and the domestic affairs in the legislature and in the process of electing presidency will come out now. And I think the American public is beginning to more and more clarify their interests. The vets who said in World War II, God bless them, said that's enough. We're not going to have a barrier. It was really the metaphor for the American public. No more barriers by the TSA, no more barriers by ICE, no more barriers by any other authoritarian institution that really doesn't have a value added to our national security. If you think the war on terror is a real war, then you're in another planet. That war was created so that our military could have some reason to go into to utilize weapons that we don't even use anymore, and to utilize surveillance systems that really aren't all that effective in protecting our national security. What our national security institutions have not realized, they never studied American history. They did not understand how men who fought guerrilla warfare, like George Washington, his technique was totally asymmetric warfare. And they talk about asymmetric warfare as if they created it in the 21st century. No, that's not correct. Already George Washington was studying it under the French, the Indians, the British. He was a British officer. And we had a give and take throughout our entire history. But if they do not learn from American history, the give and take of power, they will suffer from what you said, their own self.
I was about to say, they're using what I see as more of a high-tech Soviet model to shut down the economy and make us dependent. It's not going to work with 400 million guns, and we know that the globalists and these combines are raping us. It's just not going to work, because they already had control, but now they're going to try to push it so far to fully break us that they're going to make it basically snap back.
Well, let me give you an example, Alex. We didn't intend to do this, but I so respect you and the audience. I'll give you an example why it's not going to work. For example, the flooding by the Federal Reserve of our banking system and our financial system by money created what I call, and it's called zombie banks. What are zombie banks? We have J.P. Morgan Chase. We have Citibank. We have Bank of America, totally filled with what we call toxic assets. In other words, these guys, despite their corruption, despite their ineptness, not only took money because they made very bad loans, they couldn't make the proper risk assessments, but then they were funded. So what we have are paralyzed financial institutions who are so corrupt that they basically can't help themselves, like J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all of whom are being now indicted by federal prosecutors. So even though we funded them, they became zombie banks or zombie financial institutions like AIG, when Ben Moshe said that we have to be grateful for them. No, they lost $18 billion or $180 billion. We funded them. They were running secondary repos and derivatives, and basically what we're saying, the American public has had enough, and quite frankly, there are lawyers and civil servants within the system who are coming back and saying, you know what, J.P. Morgan, you've been indicted 8 times already. You've been indicted for water manipulation, Enron manipulation, aluminum manipulation, the credit taxes for EPA. Now you're going to go to jail, hopefully.
Doc, we're out of time. Thank you for coming on to talk about Tom Clancy. May he rest in peace. We'll get you back on next week, Doc. Overdrive coming up. Infowars.com. Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock. PrisonPlanet.tv. Be sure and be there, folks. Special live report tonight.
GCNlive.com today.
The world is discovering the power of medicinal silver to fight against life-threatening pathogens. And as a result, dozens of silver solutions have emerged. You can even make your own colloidal silver at home in your garage. How do you know which solution is the safest and most effective? Supernatural Silver is a new patented technology that is made using 10,000 volts of AC current. This technology is so powerful, it must be made in a laboratory. Colloidal and ionic silvers use a charge of only 110 volts of DC current, making supernatural silver hundreds of times more effective against viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural silver liquid can be used internally, and our silver gel can be used topically. To find out more information on how supernatural silver can help you win the war against deadly pathogens, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SAFE for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, we had Dr. Steve Pachenik on. That's always interesting. He'd mentioned that Tom Clancy knew of the show years ago. I didn't know he was a listener. We should have tried to get Tom Clancy on the show. Can't do that now unless we get him from up there make a cell phone call from the pearly gates. I tell you, there is so much going on, so much I want to cover, so much I want to get through today that I didn't get through. Got the nightly news coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. I wanted to do a little bit of overdrive so that I could take your phone calls. We're going to continue to track what's happening with the World War II vets that are refusing to not be allowed into the World War II Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial and others. We're going to be looking at that in some detail as well. Bottom line, it's time to get prepared. It's time to get ready. It's time for everybody out there to get your beans, your Bibles, your bullets in place. That is so incredibly essential that that get done. Let's go ahead and take some phone calls here. Let's talk to RB in Texas. You're on the air, RB.
Hey, boss, you get that package I sent you?
I get a lot of packages. What was in it?
The solution. A sword to overcome hypocrisy.
Oh, I did. The thing with all the watercolors of stuff?
Oh, I don't remember that. It said it was from the ambassador of...
I know. I saw it. I saw it, yes. I appreciate your call, sir. And if you go to Infowars.com, I'm going to post Alex Jones reveals Obamacare's secret origins. And in that is the message that will save us. I'm not trying to be sarcastic and mean to that guy, but man, they sent us this folder that's like the space aliens are going to save us and all this new age stuff. And I just don't buy into it. I mean, not those space aliens. These space aliens on screen of your TV viewer, they're going to save us. I'm being sarcastic, of course, and I shouldn't be mean. I apologize to the caller. That must be some good PCP, though. Let's talk to Mike in New York. Mike, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
I'm doing all right, man.
Apparently, yes, he was on some PCP or bath salts, whatever.
I think I was on some last night. I'm joking. I've never done that stuff. Anyways, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a friend on Facebook who posted, and I quote, bring our troops home and send them bleep that shut down the government to the front lines overseas and make them earn their money. And anytime I went to go hit like on my smartphone, it just reset. So I went to my laptop and did the same and hit like, reset. So I texted him. And he texted me back and said, yeah, my computer is completely frozen. And he didn't understand why. And he said, I told him, I said, you know, it's probably because Facebook and the government don't appreciate that. And he said that, oh, thank God I'm a Democrat. And I said, I don't trust either side. And, you know, he just, he doesn't get it.
What a way to end the show. So you think they were spying on you. I appreciate your call. I didn't have time to get to Greg and Alan and Matt. I've got to end it there because I got to go work on Obama Deception 2, which is behind schedule. It's a really good film, but I got so much other stuff going on that I've got to live here if I'm going to get this done and get it out by December 1st. And it's very important to get this out. Very important to break down what's happening, but I don't want to put something out that's doesn't have it all in it. But it'll definitely be the best documentary we've ever put out, so I'm going to go work on that. InfoWars Nightly News, 7 o'clock tonight, prisonplanet.tv. We just got a call from the Gwark space system earlier. So that's it for this transmission. New York Times, I'm joking. I don't believe in space aliens. Well, actually, Joe Biden might be one. Joe Biden. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form.